Okay.
Make sure don't wobble any stuff.
Okay. Close the door, please. Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday, everyone. As y'all coming in, put your locations in the comments. What time is it? See how much time we have here. As y'all coming in, put your locations in the comments so we can get started in a moment. Locations in the comments. Locations in the comments. So, so my mic's good over here. We are good over here. We're good there, and there. Today's topic, we're talking about the NFL. Looks like the NFL has become gay. That's the topic here today. The NFL has gone gay, and we're going to explain this. The NFL has come out of the closet, and we're going to talk about how this is, why this is, and what it means for all of us and for society, even if you're not a big football fan. I know what's going on in football. I'm not a super football fan, but I know what's going on. So as y'all are coming in, again, give me your locations in the comments. We're going to get started in a moment. Let me make sure we are good on all the necessary platforms. We are live on Rumble. Good morning, Rumble. Live on YouTube. Good morning, YouTube. Let me check to see if we are active on X. Yes, we are live on X. Good morning over there on X. We are live on LinkedIn. My name on LinkedIn, X, Rumble, and YouTube is at Dre All Day. We are live on Facebook, Facebook/Work on Your Game University. Live on Instagram at Dre Baldwin. Live on TikTok at Work on Your Game. Jersey Girl, baby, good morning, Jersey Girl. Good to see you in here. Congrats. You got the first comment on Instagram. And as y'all are coming in, again, shout yourselves out, shout your locations out in the comments. Let me shout a few people out here. Topic here today, again, is the NFL has come out of the closet. All right, the NFL has decided to come out of the closet. I'm going to tell you how I know, and I'm going to tell you how you can know. You can find out if you didn't hear the news already, and what this means is what we're going to really discuss. And let's see, DJ Donamite, good morning. First comment, Annie AFF. Nikki, thank you for the gifter badge. Well, thank yourself. Congrats on the gifter badge. Thanks for the gift. Annie AFF from Kentucky. Nikki from Connecticut. Courtney, good morning. 140.6 Walnut Creek, California. L. Johnson from Jersey. Quail Ridge from Lincoln, California. Trucker J, Illinois. Traveling the country, covering the country. Queen 85058, Long Island, New York. Shout out to Long Island. Carol Ann Collins from Newburgh, New York. Marky Man, Sacramento. Fort Baptist, Maryland. Michelle, Nashville, Tennessee. Angela from Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Kitten MG from Kentucky. Deanna from Arkansas. Crespo from Dover, New Jersey. Good morning. Mari from San Antonio, Texas. Philly Viv, hometown Philly, currently living in Miami. Philly Viv, that is my situation as well. Hometown Philly, living in Miami. So shout out to everybody from Philly living in Miami. Philly Viv, including you. What part of Philly are you from, Philly Viv? I am from Uptown, Mount Airy. Lori Igolover, Oklahoma. Iggy is an Italian greyhound dog. Oh, okay. All right. Now that makes sense. I thought it was Andre Iguodala. There's a basketball player named Andre Iguodala, and his nickname is Iggy. So I thought maybe you were a fan of him. He's retired now, but Iggy is the name of your dog, so that makes sense. All right, shout out to Iggy. Nana Cat from Oklahoma. X amount of time, Connecticut. Marla, Indiana. Jay Rocker from Delaware. Frederick Sullivan from Waynesville, Missouri. Duke from, oh, thanks for the follow. Let's see, I lost my spot here. Where was I? Quell Riz, thanks for the share. DJ Donamite said, become? What are you talking about? X amount of time said, what? No way, that's wild. Not really. You'll understand in a minute. I to Zucare, Memphis, Tennessee. Sherry, 1967 from Lakewood Ranch. Earl Edward Linden, thanks for the follow. Amanda Skull, Minnesota's in the building. Philly Viv said, I don't think the NFL is gay. I just think Jay-Z has an ulterior motive. Well, Jay-Z is working for the NFL, and the NFL is absolutely gay. I'm going to tell you why. Miss Michelle from Florida, Good Guy 53 from New Orleans, Dookie Charleston, South Carolina is in the building, KS Priest from Georgia, Linda Gale from St. Louis, Glow from New York, Happiness Now, ATL, Chrissy from Georgia, Jonesy from Auburn, Bob Mackey from Austin, Texas, Infinity Heart, Osmio, Virginia. I never heard of that place, but shout out to Osmio, Virginia. Charleston, KB in Golden Beach today. Shout out to Golden Beach. Philly Viv, North Philly by Roosevelt Boulevard. Shout out to the Boulevard in Philly. Shout out to North Philly. Baby Ruth, East Texas. Good morning. Lacey River from Washington. Infinity Heart, thanks for the follow. Judge by One from Jersey. Jersey's in the building. Cedric Wright said, what's the topic for today? Topic today is the NFL being gay. DJ Dynamite said the NFL become gay. It already is. So some people think the NFL is not gay. Some say it's been gay. I'm telling you, it's turning gay. They made it official now. DJ Dynamite, I agree. The NFL has been gay, but they made it official now. It's official. And I'm going to explain why it's official. Tamuel Pombo from California. Erica Elsinore, California. Wendy, good morning from Maryland. Tracy from San Antonio. And let's get to it. So, moderators, by the way, allow all dissents. We want dissents. Allow the dissent to stick around. Radhima Kira over there on Instagram. You got to text that number with the word live. Text that number with the word live. Not the comment. You text that number that I got there in the comment, 305-384-6894 with the word live. That's all of you. Text my text number, 305-384-6894. I do actually get those texts. I do actually read them, and I do actually respond. Text me at that number, and you'll get all the stuff that I like to give away for free and find out more about all the stuff we have going on here at my company outside of what we talk about in these lives. Just text me at that number. And Crespo, yes, that is the reason. HP 702LV, Las Vegas is in the building. Shout out to Vegas. Here, the housing is nice in Vegas. Just a little bit too dry for me. So here's what happened. For those who don't know, the NFL's Super Bowl is the biggest event that happens on TV. And again, folks, the word live, you send a text to the number that you see in the comment. Those of you on Instagram, send a text to that number. Yes, text that number with the word live. Send a text to that number, 305-384-6894. Text the word live to that number with your text messaging app, and then we'll send you the links. It's not on the app. So NFL Super Bowl is the biggest TV event that happens all year, in case any of you didn't know. Biggest event that happens on TV every year is the Super Bowl. Okay. Super Bowl is the biggest event on TV all year long. And football games, as a matter of fact, if you look at like the top 20 in terms of rating, TV events that happen all year by the TV ratings, NFL games take up like half of the list. So there might be a presidential debate. If there's a debate that year, it might be an episode of back in the days, Seinfeld or something like that. Maybe the day Jimmy Kimmel came back from being suspended. That might be one of the top 20 highest rated events to come on TV. NFL football games are like 10 to 15 of the top rated events all year on TV are football games. And the Super Bowl is almost always number one. So the Super Bowl is a big deal. We all understand this, even if you're not a big football fan. And the Super Bowl halftime show draws a lot of eyeballs. Even if you don't watch the game, a lot of people tune into the halftime show just to see what happens. That's the biggest show any artist in the world can book, is the Super Bowl halftime show. That is the biggest show in the world. So you could do a tour. You could be Taylor Swift doing a 300-city tour. The Super Bowl is bigger than any show on Taylor Swift's schedule. Just last week, this artist named Dua Lipa, I heard of her. She did back-to-back dates in Miami. There's nothing you can do in Miami that's bigger than the Super Bowl unless it's the Super Bowl. The halftime show is the biggest thing, not only because of all the people at the game, but also because all the people watching on TV. And many of you know that for the last maybe 6 or 7 years, Mr. Jay-Z, rapper Jay-Z, who I think, in my opinion, the best rapper, Jay-Z has become the ambassador, coordinator, him and his company. They are working with the NFL in, I guess, a consultancy way, for lack of a better term. And they help the NFL decide who's going to perform at halftime of the Super Bowl every year. So last year you had Kendrick Lamar. I don't think that was a good idea. I like Kendrick Lamar. I don't think Kendrick Lamar was a good idea because most Americans who watch the Super Bowl don't know who Kendrick Lamar is. Even if you're a rap fan, as I am, and you like Kendrick Lamar, which I do, he's still not a good choice. Kendrick Lamar does not have a lot of crossover hit music. Most of the songs he performed, a lot of people have no idea what the songs are. The reason you pick somebody for the Super Bowl halftime show is when they have crossover music that the average person who may not be a huge fan of their genre would still maybe know the song or understand the song or may come to like the song. Kendrick Lamar is a niche artist. He is not a crossover artist. So I didn't like the pick of Kendrick Lamar, not because I don't like Kendrick, but simply because it doesn't fit for what the Super Bowl is. For the Super Bowl, you pick Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Beyonce, even somebody like Drake. Even when they had Dr. Dre and Eminem and 50 Cent, it made sense because those guys have crossover music that even white people in the suburbs who don't listen to rap like that still know the song. Nobody knows Kendrick Lamar songs unless you're a rap fan. And even rap fans, a lot of rap fans don't know Kendrick Lamar songs. So it wasn't a good idea. But anyway, that's just my opinion. What happened now, what just got announced earlier this week, is that they picked the Super Bowl halftime act for this year. The Super Bowl is usually in early February. The performer for this year's Super Bowl is going to be Bad Bunny. Now, I heard of Bad Bunny, but I do not know any of Bad Bunny's music. And there's a good reason why I don't know Bad Bunny's music, because Bad Bunny is a man, by the way. Bad Bunny is a man. His real name is Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, in case any of you were guessing. Bad Bunny is obviously Latin. Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio. He's been officially named the halftime performer. Now, Bad Bunny does all of his music in Spanish. And I know enough Spanish that I can kind of understand it, but not when somebody's talking like native language, fluent Spanish, like normal conversational pace. I can't keep up. He does all his raps, and he raps actually. All of this is in Spanish. Now, I don't think Jay-Z speaks Spanish, but he picked Bad Bunny to be the performer this year. And this is how we know Jay-Z is not making 100% of the decisions, because why would Jay-Z pick a rapper who's rapping in Spanish? And I don't think Jay-Z speaks Spanish. Maybe he does, and I don't know. I don't think Jay-Z speaks Spanish. So February 8th, 2026, and this event is happening at Santa Clara Stadium, or Levi Stadium, in Santa Clara, California. In case any of you doesn't know, that's Northern California. I believe that's where the 49ers play. This is Northern California, and it's the closest thing to Silicon Valley. Keep that idea in mind. We're going to talk about that. Country code, yes, is +1. Yes, that's an American number, 305-384-6894. You text that number with the word live, and that's why you get the link and all the stuff. That's what I'm saying to everybody with the text message, those of you on Instagram who are asking. So this announcement was made by the NFL with Apple Music and Rock Nation. So Apple Music is part of the deal as well. Now, Mr. Bad Bunny, he is a Puerto Rican Latin trap/reggaeton artist. So those of you who don't know what trap is basically street pharmaceutical dealing music. So trap music in America, that would be people like Future, Young Thug, Young Jeezy, Gucci Mane. These people are T.I. These are your trap music. These are people who basically from the South rapping about dealing pharmaceuticals in the street illegally. All right, that's trap. So Bad Bunny has taken that concept and he does it in Latin. All right, he raps that. And he also does reggaeton, of which I'm not a fan, but shout out to the reggaeton fans. He has a big global streaming. He's a big global streaming phenomenon. Bad Bunny is a very popular artist. I do know that. Even though I don't listen to him, I do know that he's popular. And some call him even a cultural icon. Don't go that far. Now, this selection is especially provocative given that Bad Bunny previously said that he wasn't even going to perform in the United States. This is what Bad Bunny said. He said he wasn't performing in the United States anymore, but he's going to do the Super Bowl. So I guess he will make an exception for the Super Bowl, which is a good business decision by Mr. Bunny, because he said that ICE, that's the customs enforcement people that we've been talking about, that's Tom Holman, Christine Holman Company, they might be outside of my concert. That's what he said. Now, I don't think he's about to get deported. I don't think so. But maybe he's talking about his fans. So he doesn't want to perform in the USA as a virtue signal because he's not a fan of ICE, according to him. And he wouldn't do any tours in the USA because of, again, these fears of immigration enforcement. And again, I don't think he's talking about himself. But he's going to do the Super Bowl. All right, so go figure. So the NFL's music programming, as we already know, is largely guided by Mr. Jay-Z and his company, which is called Rock Nation. They have a lot of influence. Now, the league itself, we know the NFL has leaned into social justice signaling. So they had BLM logos and hashtags and stuff on the field over the years. They have jumped big into diversity ideas. You can see this in the front offices of a lot of NFL teams and the NFL itself as an organization. Also, LGBTQ inclusion, the rainbow flag. The NFL has been all in on this stuff for years. A lot of you may not know that, but the NFL has been in on this stuff for a while. So it's not that the NFL just became gay. The NFL's been gay. It's just now they're making it mainstream because now they have something that everybody notices, the Super Bowl halftime show, and they're making it well known because Mr. Bunny appears to be, he presents himself, he's a man, but he presents himself often. You see him dressed in, I guess what you would call drag, which is a man dressing as a woman. He does this a lot. So he has a lot of photos out there of him dressed in female clothing. Let's see if we can find some of it so that any of you who is not familiar with Mr. Bunny, I've seen him a few times but didn't pay that much attention. But the photos that came around after it got announced that he's going to be performing at the Super Bowl, these have been obvious. So here's one example of Mr. Bunny. All right, so here's Bad Bunny. This is the Super Bowl halftime performer, this guy right here. Okay, so this is one example of Bad Bunny. Okay, so that's just one, but let's see if we can find some others. And there's a bunch of people. We're going to talk about that in a second. We won't address that one yet. Let me see if I can find some other photos of Bad Bunny. And a lot of people are posting the same photo of him in the pink dress. And let me see if I can find another. No, that's not him. As I keep talking, I'll look for some others. I think I'm going to have to go to Google. So what some are saying is... No, actually, I'm not going to even address that one. Let me look for some others while I'm finished talking to you all, telling you about this background. So NFL has been all in on this rainbow flag stuff, diversity, equity, inclusion. They're all in on this, okay? On a corporate level, they're in on this. The NFL is highly corporate, by the way, for those who don't know. NFL is not some regular mom and pop shop. They are corporate. So over the recent years, this choice is being framed by critics as another push of quote unquote woke culture into mainstream sports. And they are 100% correct. That's what this is. Because Bad Bunny has made artistic choices, crossing gender norms. He wears dresses. He has this fluid imagery. I believe he positions himself as non-binary. I don't think he actually calls himself gay, as non-binary. And if a man says he's non-binary, to me, that means he's gay. All right, so that's how I read that. So y'all take that as you wish. And many see this as the NFL is overtly now. They've been doing this quietly. But now they're overtly pushing this gay messaging, which I am asserting here today. And it clashes with what football is at, the essence of what football is. All of you know what American football is, right? American football is this rough and tumble, big men with big muscles running as fast as they can and bashing it into each other as hard as possible. That is traditionally what football is. Now, we know that football's gotten a little bit softer over the years. It's not as physical as it used to be. You can't really hit the quarterbacks like you used to. You get penalties for hitting people now playing football. We know they have softened the game significantly to where you are not as nearly at risk for getting your head knocked off on a football field in 2025 the way you were at risk of getting your head knocked off in, let's say, 1995. So the game is softer, but football is still football. Now, football players are still big guys with big muscles who lift heavy weights and smash into each other a lot over the course of a game. So why would football, as rough a sport as it is, why would they go get a gay guy or push a gay message at the halftime show of the biggest event that they have all year, which is literally the biggest event on television all year? Why would they push a gay message with that? It is a direct clashing of what football is even about. This football is a traditional rough thing. It's hyper masculine, and they have been working over the years. This has been in motion for the last 15 years, by the way. The NFL has feminized their sport. They feminized their message. They are trying to feminize their audience. And the audience has stuck with them because football is such a tradition in America. It is by far the most popular team sport in the United States of America. Football by far outpaces basketball, hockey, and baseball, almost all of them put together. And what they're doing is they're trying to feminize it. And this is a further feminization of society in general. They use sports and entertainment to feminize society because a lot of people pay attention to sports and entertainment, even though you may not pay attention to certain industries. So if you don't pay attention to an industry, like let's say you don't pay attention to entrepreneurship or the financial markets or the government, you may not notice the feminization. But almost every one of us on some level, you partake in either watching sports or listening to, watching, engaging in entertainment. Almost everybody engages in some form of entertainment, whether you watch it on TV, whether you listen to it on a podcast, everybody listens to music. So what the NFL is doing is this is the way that you start top down to get the whole society to get a message. You get it out through the entertainment. Because again, not everybody pays attention to the serious topics like business, entrepreneurship, professional work, et cetera, et cetera. Not everybody's engaged. Everybody's engaged in entertainment. Super Bowl is the biggest show of the year. Whoever performs halftime at Super Bowl, almost everybody's talking about it. They went and got a gay guy. That's what they did. Now, the backlash is intensifying. Many conservatives have spoken out about this already this week. And many people are arguing that because his music is primarily in Spanish, that the USA audience, I'm not even going to understand what he's doing. So why the hell would they do this? Why would you get a person who makes a lot of their music in Spanish to perform at a big American event at halftime? Again, how people even going to know what he's saying? And Jay-Z picked him more for optics. Jay-Z and the NFL. Jay-Z is not, he doesn't make a unilateral decision here. Jay-Z comes up with some ideas. He goes to the NFL. He gets co-signed from the NFL. It's their event. All right, Jay-Z doesn't run the NFL. He's working with them. They get final say. They don't want somebody in there that ain't going. So Jay-Z says, okay, let's go with Bad Bunny, or he suggests Bad Bunny. Maybe the NFL suggested Bad Bunny, and Jay-Z said, okay, whatever. And that this is alienating core NFL fans who prefer, I believe, core NFL fans are mostly people who are from usually suburban areas, maybe right outside of big cities. They are generally white. They are generally conservative. Football and sports in general is a conservative endeavor. So sports is not a liberal endeavor. It's a conservative endeavor. These are generally white, suburban people, Americans, purebred Americans, American flag waving Americans. And they're going to go with this guy. And I would guess that those people would prefer maybe a country artist, a rock artist, or some mainstream pop artist. Again, it doesn't have to be a white person. Beyonce is mainstream pop. She's mainstream enough. 50 Cent is mainstream. Dr. Dre is mainstream. Even Drake could be mainstream. He has some songs that everybody knows because of the crossover appeal of his music. Why would they go with this guy? That, again, a lot of Americans have no idea, first of all, what he's saying. Secondly, never heard of his music, even though you may have heard of his name. Now you're going to put this guy in front of your main audience, in front of the entire world. Let me tell you let me introduce myself first, and then I'll tell you what this is. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin. Many know me as Dre all day. I'm a former 9-year pro athlete, author of a few books, done a few TED Talks. I run this company called Work on Your Game Incorporated. You want to learn more about working with me and what we do, send a text message to my number. My number's in my bio. Those of you watching on TikTok, those of you on the other apps, you see the number in the pinned comment. Send a text to that number. That is my phone number. Text me at that number. It is 305-384-6894. Just text the word LIVE, L-I-V-E. You can learn more about working with me, how you can get some of these books you see behind me for free. We give away a lot of books for free. How you can get into my other communities, my coaching programs, etc. We got a lot going on. We got a coaching program called The Circle. We have these books that you can get for free and a bunch of other things. You just text the word LIVE. We'll tell you more about all of that. So, and by the way, moderators, we allow the dissent. So if anybody's dissenting, let them dissent. Now, if you're trolling or spamming, kick them out. But if they're dissenting, let them dissent. Okay, dissent is allowed. Trolling and spamming is somebody just posting the same thing over and over again. You can get rid of them. And if somebody's posting something that has nothing to do with the topic and they keep doing it over and over again, then mute them. Don't block them, just mute them. But everybody else, if they're disagreeing with me, let them disagree. We are open to disagreement here. We want disagreement because when people disagree, first of all, you should be able to defend your opinions in the open market, which I'm willing to do. I will get to the comments later on here today. And it strengthens your position when you have to defend it. And the other person might actually have a point. So we got to always hold out these possibilities. Not always do they have a point, but sometimes they do. So let me tell you what this is. What the NFL is doing right now is no different than what Sports Illustrated did when they put the fat girls on the cover of the swimsuit issue. That was the same thing. It's the exact same thing. Remember when Sports Illustrated was putting girls who were not swimsuit model material on the cover of the swimsuit issue? All y'all know what the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue is, right? It's basically the Super Bowl of Sports Illustrated. Sports Illustrated is a weekly publication. I don't know if they still come out every week, but they used to. They come out every week, and it's basically high-level articles written by journalists about sports. That's what Sports Illustrated is. At least that's what it traditionally was. Once a year, they would put out the swimsuit issue, which is a bit thicker of an issue, and that issue would just be pictures of girls in bikinis, and that was a yearly tradition of what they did with the swimsuit issue because Sports Illustrated knew exactly who their reader was. The reader of Sports Illustrated is a warm-blooded male, masculine male who is into sports, who likes to sit down in his chair or on his couch and read an issue of the magazine every single week and be uninterrupted by his wife and his kids. That's Sports Illustrated. So once a year, they said, let's throw a bone to this man. We've been giving him sports all year, one issue a year. Let's just put a whole bunch of scantily clad pretty girls in an issue and give that to the men. We know they will appreciate that as well because they knew exactly who their customer was. And that worked for 50 years. Excuse me. Until DEI came along and somebody at Sports Illustrated got a really bad idea. And they said, how about we get some diversity in our swimsuit issue? So instead of having a whole bunch of pretty thin women who should be walking around in bikinis in front of cameras, how about we put some women who are not that? How about we get some women who are twice their age? How about we get some women who are not actually women? How about we get some women who are fat? And let's put them on the cover of the issue and show that we can be diverse. This is a terrible idea by Sports Illustrated. Now, why did they do this? They did this because they wanted to show the rest of the world outside of their core audience that, hey, we are doing something that you all would approve of too. Here's the problem. Sports Illustrated is in business, and in business, you sell to your customers. You don't sell to people who are not your buyers. That's the mistake Sports Illustrated made. They tried to sell that swimsuit issue to a bunch of people who were not warm-blooded, American, masculine, heterosexual men who are interested in sports and boobs. That's what Sports Illustrated readers are. Men who want to read about sports and every now and then show me some pretty girls in bikinis. That's it. That's what Sports Illustrated's core audience is. Why would you alienate your core audience by putting some people on the cover of your swimsuit issue that shouldn't be walking around in swimsuits? Damn sure not in front of a camera. Let's just keep it real here, folks. Okay, anybody can wear a swimsuit if they want to. But not everybody who wears a swimsuit should do so in front of a camera. All right, just because there's a camera in front of you doesn't mean you should put a swimsuit on because the camera's watching. Everybody understands exactly what I'm saying. Why would Sports Illustrated do that? This was stupidity because they bought into diversity, equity, and inclusion. Well, we got to be diverse and inclusive when it comes to who gets to be on the swimsuit issue. No, the hell you don't. I live in South Florida. Every year in South Florida, they have this thing called Miami Swim Week. Y'all familiar with Miami Swim Week? If you're not familiar with it, just imagine it. Okay. Miami Swim Week is a whole bunch of women who look like the type of women that are usually in Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. And that's the way it's supposed to be. They show off bathing suits. Who do you want to see walking the runway in a bathing suit? Usually a woman who looks really good in a bathing suit. And is there a standard of what looking good in a bathing suit is? Yes, there is. Diversity, equity, and inclusion and body positivity movements want you to think that anybody can look good in a bathing suit. I say, no, they can't. Just like not anybody should be playing basketball. Not anybody should cut hair. Not anybody should walk around with their shirt off. Not anybody should do a live stream for 2 hours every day. Everything ain't for everybody. And that's completely okay. Everybody got to get in where they fit in. Please keep liking the live, folks. We got 24,000 likes here. Get the likes up, folks. Over on TikTok, we do 100,000 likes here every single day. We're at 24,000. Get the likes up. Get the likes up. I don't want to pull Kevin Samuels on y'all and delay the live, but we must get the likes up.
Have some more chicken. Have some more pie. Have some more chicken. Have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried.
If you're watching on TikTok, just like the live. Tap the screen to like the live, and let's get the likes up. Don't get lazy on the likes. Please keep the likes up. So Sports Illustrated did a bad job, bad idea. They did a good job on the bad idea, alienating their audience. And then after a couple of years of that nonsense, they went back to doing what they're supposed to do. And you haven't heard any uproar about the latest issues of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue because they went back to doing what they're used to doing, which is putting pretty thin women, model level women on the cover of their magazine. And nobody had a problem with that. So everybody got quiet again. The NFL is doing the exact same thing. The NFL is an audience of conservative, often Christian, religious, heterosexual, traditional family, head of household, men and women who are Americans. Again, flag waving Americans, American flag waving Americans. Why would you bring somebody who's not even from America, first of all, not speaking English, second of all, and not heterosexual, third of all? Why would you put them in the middle of your halftime show? This is stupidity by the NFL. They probably think it's smart. Now, why do they think it's smart? Because they're trying to be diverse, equitable, and inclusive. Here's the problem with diversity, equity, and inclusion. There are many problems with it. I've done hours on the subject and why it's terrible. One of the problems with it is when you try to diversify, equitize, if that's even a word, and include everybody in what you're doing, you alienate the main people who are already in on what you're doing. Here's a truth of human nature that all of you should all know, but if you don't know, I'm going to tell you, and you should keep it in mind after I tell you, is that there is huge power in having an in-group that not everybody is a part of. We are in here and they are out there. It's us against them. The NFL is the NFL because there's a niche audience of people who want to see the NFL and they like watching the NFL and the NFL's products because they know that it's people like us do things like this. That's the NFL. Sports Illustrated, same thing with the swimsuit issue. People like us read this magazine. The Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue is not for women. It is not for, basically, it's not for women. It's for men. It's for heterosexual men. Heterosexual men who are attracted to women. And they're not bashful about letting it be known that they're attracted to women. And their wives know once a year, this magazine that I read that's all about sports, once a year they're going to give me an issue with a whole bunch of girls in bikinis, and the wives are okay with that. That's Sports Illustrated's audience. Now, why would you alienate that audience by showing them stuff that they don't really want to see? Who are you trying to impress? That ain't for the men. That's for somebody that's not even your core audience. Bad idea. Same thing with the NFL here. NFL's core audience is not asking for Bad Bunny. They weren't asking for Kendrick Lamar either, but at least he was speaking English. NFL's core audience is asking for something that they can understand and something that they would know, something that they, maybe even you can introduce me to somebody. Maybe I never heard them before, but okay, this person's kind of sort of interesting. Let me hear what they have to say. All right. NFL is asking for what essentially is Taylor Swift or I can't even remember the name of some of these country music artists. They're asking for people like that. Now that's what they're asking for, not Bad Bunny. So Bad Bunny's rise and reach. This is what some supporters will say. He's very popular. He has big reach. He got a bunch of fans. He's one of the most streamed artists in the world. He has a massive global fan base. He has strong social media presence, and he has strong cultural influence, especially in Latin communities. The NFL is not Latin. How many Latin players in the NFL right now? I can see Bad Bunny performing if baseball had a halftime show. Okay, go get Bad Bunny. All right, because baseball is a heavily Latin sport. How many Latin men are playing in the NFL right now? Not that many. All right, the NFL is not dominated by Latin influence. So saying that he's heavily influential amongst Latin communities, what the hell does that have to do with the NFL? Absolutely nothing. All right, where's football most popular in America? You got places like Texas, Oklahoma, California, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia. All right, is it a whole bunch of Latin people dominating the sport in these areas? Not that I know of. I don't see a bunch of Latin people playing quarterback, wide receiver, running back, offensive line, defensive line, safety, linebacker, kicker, punt returner, kick returner. I don't see this anywhere. So what is this? Again, if it was baseball, I would get it. But football, Latin, Bad Bunny, even basketball, Bad Bunny, hockey, Bad Bunny. Would you have Bad Bunny performing at halftime at a hockey all-star game? That doesn't make any sense. So just saying that he's popular amongst Latin audiences, that's great, Bad Bunny. Go do a show in Miami. All right, a bunch of people will show up. Okay? But the NFL halftime show, this doesn't make any sense. So the NFL and Rock Nation probably see him as a bridge to the youth, to Hispanic audiences, and for global expansion. I think this is true. The NFL are looking at this and saying, well, we can reach more of the youth if we do this. Here's the problem with trying to reach the youth. Reach the youth. Why are you trying to reach the youth? Reach the youth by doing what you do best. Let your core audience bring the youth in, not you reaching outside of your core audience to bring them in. All right. This is a very bad idea. So Diane over there on Instagram said he's Puerto Rican, so that is American. Okay. I'll give you that one, Diane. But he speaks no English, or at least he only performs in Spanish. Yes, I already said that. So again, what the hell is this? This doesn't make any sense. He's not a purebred American. He's from Puerto Rico. Okay, Puerto Rico. All right, Puerto Ricans who are listening to this, okay. All right, you're American. All right, everybody gets my point. Is he part of the contiguous? Is he part of the 50 states? I know Puerto Rico is the territory of the USA, but come on. No. This guy's not American. Now, he's not a purebred American. Everybody understands what I mean by that. Now, a bridge to the youth. I don't think the NFL needs to build a bridge to the youth because young guys play football naturally. And if you play football and you live in the United States of America, the goal is playing in the NFL. The same way if you play baseball, you want to play in the major leagues. You play hockey, you want to be in the NHL. You play basketball, you want to be in the NBA. The NFL doesn't need to do anything to reach out to them. Just let football be football, and they will find their way up. I was at the park with my son yesterday, and there was 3 fields full of young kids playing football. These kids were no older than the oldest group in there was probably 12 years old. So you had like 10-year-olds, you had 6-year-olds, you had 12-year-olds playing football. All of them want to go to the NFL if they keep playing. The NFL doesn't need to do anything. They don't need Bad Bunny. And even at these football fields that I'm walking past, they got speakers out there and they're playing music. And guess what they ain't playing over those speakers? I ain't never heard no Bad Bunny. I ain't never heard no Latin music coming out of those speakers. Now, the fact that football teams even play music during practice is a whole different story because there ain't no music blasting constantly during the game. So why are you practicing with music blasting? That's a different conversation. But when they are playing music, I hear rap music. I hear Future, I hear Kendrick Lamar, and I hear a whole bunch of other rappers who I don't even know who they are. But it's rap, R-A-P, rap music. All right, it ain't Latin rap. It's not Bad Bunny. It's some black dudes from the ghetto rapping some trap stuff, all right, which is what I would expect. So they don't need a bridge to the youth. So I don't even like this point. They say a bridge to Hispanic audiences. Again, why are you trying to reach Hispanic audiences? NFL is already the biggest TV show in TV. Why are you trying to reach a Hispanic audience? For what? Why? And global expansion. Okay, maybe the NFL will expand globally, but I don't think Bad Bunny is the link to the NFL expanding globally. I think the link is getting people in other countries to see football, appreciate football for what it is, as opposed to soccer, and being wanting to play it. It was the same thing that the NBA did when they sent the Dream Team to the Olympics in 1992. When people saw basketball and they saw these big name guys, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, etc., do what they did, then those kids grew up saying, okay, I want to do that. I don't think anybody's going to hear Bad Bunny performing at the Super Bowl and say, oh, now that I saw Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl, now I want to play football. All right, that makes no logical sense. So all of a sudden, football is going to become popular in the Dominican Republic because Bad Bunny performed at the Super Bowl. Now everybody wants to be a wide receiver. Now you want to be Tom Brady. I don't think so. Does that logically make any sense to any of you? Doesn't make sense to me. Now, the language barrier criticism, because most of his music is in Spanish. Some argue that a large portion of the U.S. audience won't connect emotionally to the songs that they can't understand is going to reduce impact. There's no argument. That's the truth. If you're doing all your songs in Spanish and people don't speak Spanish, they don't know what the hell you're saying. So it might sound good. You may be able to kind of flow to the melody, but what the hell is he saying? I don't know. So how can you connect to this? The answer is you can't. That's the point. So halftime shows are supposed to be patriotic spectacles. Do you remember the 1992 Super Bowl? Whitney Houston singing the national anthem and the planes flying overhead in the middle of the Gulf War. All right, that is what the Super Bowl is. And now we got Bad Bunny. So, and this is signaling that this language plays a big role in engagement. All right, you want people to engage, you got to have an artist do something that people can remember and they can be talking about the next day. What is this? All right, they had Michael Jackson performing at halftime of the Super Bowl 20 or so, 30 years ago. Now you got this guy. Now, by accepting this, Bad Bunny acknowledged that one U.S. show overrides his prior boycott. So he isn't really boycotting the USA. He claimed he was boycotting the USA because he was afraid of ICE being outside of his show. I don't mean ICE like ice cubes, ICE like customs enforcement. Again, I don't think for himself, but maybe for one of his fans. So he's trying to make a political statement. I'm not performing in the USA because of ICE, which I guess that meant he's not going to perform for the next 3 years because Donald Trump's the president and ICE ain't going away as long as Donald Trump's around. So I guess he was doing a 3-year boycott of USA, which he can afford to do because he's so popular. But he decided to override his own boycott to perform in the USA once because he wants the platform of the Super Bowl, which means he didn't really mean that shit from the beginning. If you're really afraid of ICE, you think ICE is not going to be at the Super Bowl? They'll be there. You think there aren't cops at the Super Bowl? They'll be there. There'll be a whole bunch of people at the Super Bowl. Everybody's at the Super Bowl. So some say this signals that the platform is worth the risk. All right, there's no fucking risk. All right, this is virtue signaling. So I didn't hear Bad Bunny say this, but according to those who know, he said this. He didn't want to do shows in the USA because he's afraid of ICE. That's virtue signaling. Saying that you're about this and that because it makes you look good, but then when it comes time for you to actually enforce it, i.e. turning down the Super Bowl, he didn't turn that shit down. He took the show. So this is all virtue signaling nonsense. So gives you another little peek inside of who this guy actually is. It suggests a shift from protest posture towards cultural leadership. Please miss me with this bullshit. That's not cultural leadership. He's not leading anything. He's virtue signaling. And as soon as he got an opportunity to break his virtue signal because there was an opportunity for him to build his brand, extend his reach and make some money, that virtue signal went away real quick, all right, which is what you normally see. Now, critics say that permitting one U.S. performance after declaring refusal due to ICE concerns muddles his political credibility. All right, he doesn't have any fucking political credibility. All right, why? This shouldn't even be a topic. He has no political credibility. He's a rapper. I don't care what any rapper has to say about politics. Not one. There's no active rapper who has something to say about politics or social issues or the government that any of you needs to hear what they have to say. You may want to hear it simply because you like the person, But what the hell do they have to say that's going to affect you? The answer is absolutely nothing. And while we're on the subject, this is what the Democratic Party tends to do every election, trying to sway the votes of Black and Latin voters. Let's go get Beyonce and Megan Thee Stallion and Quavo from the Migos. Let's go get these idiots to come tell Black people what to do. Let's get Cardi B to interview Joe Biden during the election cycle. And he won't interview with anybody else, but he'll sit down with Cardi B. This is what the Democratic Party has been doing for years. And it's not even a knock on the Democratic Party, because the reason they're doing it because their data shows that this works. This is why you got LeBron James campaigning for Hillary Clinton. This is why you had Jay-Z and Beyonce campaigning for Barack Obama. All right, they've been doing this for a while now. This is why you had Diddy doing the, what was it called? Vote or Die back in 2004. All right, this is what they've been doing because it works. Because minorities in America tend to listen to these athletes and entertainers tell you what you should do about serious everyday issues when they, according to what they say in their music, are living so far above your situation that anything that happens to you does not affect them the same way. So why would you let them tell you what decision to make when their full-time job is making music, not paying attention to social issues and real things that affect real people every day? Again, logically, this makes no sense, but I'm not even knocking the Democrats for this. I'm knocking the civilians. I'm knocking the everyday people who you care what Jay-Z has to say about politics. You care what Bad Bunny has to say about ICE. What the hell do I care what Bad Bunny has to say about customs enforcement? You care what Beyonce has to say about quote unquote reproductive freedom. Now, what the hell do I care what Beyonce has to say about abortion? How many babies has Beyonce aborted? I doubt she's aborted any. But she goes and speaks on behalf of Kamala Harris about abortion. Kamala Harris has an event in, I don't know where this event was in. I think it was in Atlanta. She brings out Megan Thee Stallion and some trap rapper from the Migos. What the hell is he going to tell you about how your everyday life is going? Because according to his music, the way he's living his life has nothing to do with the way you're living yours. According to his music, he makes in a day what you make in a year. So what the hell is he going to tell you about politics? But this is what a lot of Americans buy into. Now, I don't think the average NFL fan is this person, but Jay-Z is Jay-Z. And Jay-Z, I believe Jay-Z he's drinking the Kool-Aid, his own Kool-Aid of a bunch of fans. I think Jay-Z's the best rapper. I like Jay-Z rapping. I listen to Jay-Z's music all day. You can put on Jay-Z music all day and I'm okay with that. I don't want to hear what Jay-Z has to say about everyday issues, because what the hell do I care what Jay-Z has to say? Jay-Z's a rapper. If Jay-Z's in a room, rap, motherfucker. I want to hear what you have to say about everyday stuff. Maybe we can talk business, entrepreneurship, brand building. We can talk about that. But I don't care what Jay-Z has to say about something that has to do with politics. Nor do I care what Bad Bunny has to say. So for some of you, Bad Bunny might be what I see Jay-Z as. You may see Bad Bunny as that, and you should look at him the same way I look at Jay-Z. The hell does Jay-Z got to say about anything serious that's not music entertainment related that you need to hear? Answer is not much. Now, if it's music entertainment business, okay, let's talk, Jay-Z. But other than that, no. So when you make a stand and then you make an exception on the stand, you didn't make a stand. So he's saying I wasn't going to perform because of ICE. Sound like a tongue-in-cheek statement. Now, the NFL, maybe they're trying to expand their brand. The league is clearly betting on diversity, yes, cultural relevance, whatever that even means. I don't even like this word relevance and relevant, not relevance, relevance, relevant. I don't even like this word. People throw this term around all the time. And appealing to changing demographics. I don't think this is a good idea. I don't like this idea. This sounds very left-leaning is what this sounds like. And it is very left-leaning. The NFL is starting to lean to the left. And the reason why that's a thing, it's not even an issue. It's not even that they're doing something wrong. Is that the NFL, a lot of you need to understand, NFL is a conservative organization. Traditionally, it's been a conservative organization. It sells its product to some urban, but mostly suburban, white Americans who are patriotic, flag-waving Americans. That's who the NFL targets. That is their target audience. Now they're talking about cultural relevance. They already had cultural relevance with those people. Now they're talking about diversity. Now, if you live in the United States of America and you hear the word diversity, what does that mean to you? Put it in the comments. What does it mean? When you hear the word diversity, what does that mean to you? I'm going to tell you what it means to me when I hear the word diversity. Anytime I hear an organization talking about diversity, I already know what they're about to do. But y'all tell me what you think. When you hear the word diversity from an organization, especially a corporate organization like the NFL, what does it mean? Diversity, let's say beauty, charm, beauty is her name. You pretty much nailed it. Multiculturalism, that's what it means. When an organization says diversity, what they mean is we got too many white people, we got to bring in some black people and some brown people. We got too many men, we need women. We got too many heteros, we need some gay people. That's what diversity means. When they say that, that's what it means. We got to bring in more people that are different than what we already got. That's diversity. We got white people, we need blacks. We got men, we need women. We got heteros, we need some gays. That's all it means. Now, why is the NFL leaning into diversity? Again, the NFL, I already told y'all, the NFL is the biggest show on television. That is by data, actual facts. The biggest shows on TV over the course of a year are NFL games. You list the top 20 events that happen on TV all year. Half of those 20 are NFL games. Why do they need to diversify? For what? You're already winning. What are you diversifying for? And then maybe cultural relevance. Who are you trying to be relevant to? You're already relevant. You're the most relevant thing on TV. Why are you changing this? Everybody knows the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why is the NFL trying to change things for no reason? I don't understand the reason why they're trying to do this. And they say appealing to changing demographics. But I don't think white people are going away that quickly. I think white people are starting to get outnumbered. If you're white listening to this, white people are starting to get outnumbered and let the Democrats win in 2028. Y'all going to see. And they were on their way in 2024. Donald Trump put a stop to that, but it ain't over. But the demographics ain't changing that much. Demographics ain't changing that much. The NFL's entertainment arm wants halftime to be a cultural event, not just musical filler. The NFL's halftime show was never musical filler. It was always a cultural event. Michael Jackson performed at halftime 30 years ago. That was an event. Everybody was watching when Michael Jackson performed at halftime. Everybody was watching when Whitney Houston did the national anthem. Everybody was watching. Even when Beyonce performed, everybody was watching. I think Jay-Z did halftime at some point. Did Jay-Z ever do halftime? All right, that was a big deal. Let me see if I can get a list here. Give me a list of every headline performer who's done the Super Bowl halftime show for the last 30 years, year by year. So let's just get a list of who's performed at the halftime show for the last 30 years so we know. These are always events. Even when the artists, I didn't even think they were that good. I didn't think the performance was that good. I say, well, at least they did something. At least they got somebody it made sense. Like I can understand why they brought this person out. I can understand why this person was a performer. So 1995, it was Tony Bennett, Patti LaBelle, Arturo Sandoval, and Miami Sound Machine. I don't remember that one. 1996 was Diana Ross. Okay, very famous. 1997 was the Blues Brothers Bash. Dan Aykroyd, John Goodman, Belushi, James Brown, ZZ Top. Okay. 1998 was a tribute to Motown. So you have Boyz II Men, Smokey Robinson, Queen Latifah, The Temptations. 1999, Stevie Wonder, Gloria Estefan, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, Savion Glover. 2000 was Phil Collins, Christina Aguilera, Enrique Iglesias, Tony Braxton, and an 80-person choir called the Tapestry of Nations. 2001 was the Kings of Rock and Pop. So you had Aerosmith, NSYNC, Britney Spears, Mary J. Blige, and Nelly in 2001. So this is the first rap person I mentioned was Nelly, 2001. Before that, I'm just starting in 1995, by the way. 2002 was U2. 2003, Shania Twain, No Doubt, and Sting. So one thing you all should notice, this first 7 years that I listed, whole bunch of white artists, whole bunch of white pop artists. 2004, the infamous 2004, Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake, Kid Rock, P. Diddy, and Nelly. Yeah, I remember 2004. That was the nip slip event. 2005, Paul McCartney. 2006, the Rolling Stones. 2007, you had Prince with the FAMU Marching Band. 2008, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. 2009, Bruce Springsteen. 2010, The Who. 2011, Black Eyed Peas, Usher, and Slash. So 2011 was the first year that you had majority black artists and more hip-hop R&B-ish artists running the show. 2011, that was the first time. 2012, Madonna, with a whole bunch of other people who jumped in. LMFAO, Cirque du Soleil, Nicki Minaj, MIA, CeeLo Green, 2012. 2013, Beyonce. 2014, Bruno Mars, Red Hot Chili Peppers. 2015, Katy Perry, Lenny Kravitz, and Missy. I remember that one. 2016, Coldplay and Beyonce again, and Bruno Mars again. 2017, Lady Gaga, headline by herself. 2018, Justin Timberlake by himself. 2019, Maroon 5, Travis Scott, and Big Boy. This is around the time Jay-Z got involved. 2020, you got Shakira, J-Lo. Bad Bunny was a part of that one. He was an ensemble artist. J-Lo, J Balvin, and Emmy Muniz. 2021 was The Weeknd. Even The Weeknd. He's a good example. The Weeknd is a black artist, and he's half hip-hop. He's like 20% hip-hop, mostly R&B, but he's crossover. The Weeknd has songs that everybody would know. If I play some Weeknd songs, you might not know The Weeknd's name. You might not even know what he looks like, but if I played the song, you would know it. That's crossover. 2022, this is Dr. Dre, Snoop, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar, 50 Cent. That was the West Coast one. Fine. 2023, Rihanna. Again, crossover artist. Rihanna got a bunch of songs that everybody knows. 2024, Usher. He ran the show, and he brought out Alicia Keys, Jermaine Dupri, H.E.R., will.i.am, Lil Jon, and Ludacris. And then in 2025, last year, was Kendrick Lamar. I didn't like the Kendrick Lamar pick because, again, he doesn't have crossover songs. He's a popular rapper, but he doesn't have any crossover songs. And now, this year, or 2026, you're going to get Bad Bunny. The whole point of the show is that it's never musical filler, that these people are culturally relevant. They are usually very well known. Even if you're not a fan of their music, if they played some of their songs, you would know them. So looking back on this list, there are artists on here who I couldn't tell you their songs, but if they started playing them, I would say, oh yeah, I know that. I heard of Tony Bennett. I cannot tell you a Tony Bennett song, but I bet if I went on Apple Music and looked up the most popular Tony Bennett songs and started playing them, I would say, oh, okay, I know that song. I didn't know it was Tony Bennett, but I know the song. Diana Ross. Some of you may not know Diana Ross, but if I played one of her songs, you would know it. The Blues Brothers. I would probably know one of their songs. I'm trying to think somebody else. Phil Collins, I know his stuff. Shania Twain. I don't know any of her. I couldn't name a Shania Twain song, but if you played it, I would know it. All right. Sting. I know some Sting songs. I'm trying to think who else. Paul McCartney. I don't know his music, but I would know. The Rolling Stones. Again, I don't know them, but I would know. Bruce Springsteen. I don't know them, but I would know. The Who. The same thing. This is what you get when you do a halftime show. So what the hell they're doing here, I don't understand this. Now, some core NFL fans feel like they are being ignored and pushed out. And you shouldn't feel that way. That's the reality. That's what's actually happening. That's not a feeling. That's the truth. Many of them don't want halftime to become some political or identity statement platform. I say if you're in that boat, too late. NFL has already decided that's what this is. Halftime show has now become either a political or an identity statement platform. That's what it is. It hasn't been super political. Beyonce made a little bit of a political statement about 10 years ago when she did the show. Now it's an identity statement. The identity statement now, because even last year, Kendrick Lamar was doing his song dissing Drake. But in that song, he's talking about Drake being a PDF. Isn't that what the whole song is about? Isn't that the major punchline of the song where Kendrick Lamar dissed Drake is he's calling Drake a PDF. He's saying it over and over again on the stage at the biggest show in the world. What does that have to do? Again, what does the average American football fan care about that? That was for this niche group of rap fans. He's doing that in front of the Super Bowl audience. It doesn't make any sense. Now the identity statement is let's bring a guy who is gender fluid, I guess, non-binary, I guess, and speaking in Spanish. Again, what is this? So critics will frame this as a betrayal of the locker room culture identity of football, which it is. That's exactly what it is. Now, Jay-Z. They say that Jay-Z pushes for artists with cultural relevance and social messaging. I think that is what Jay-Z does, unfortunately. This is the route that Jay-Z has chosen to take. And this is the route that you have to take if you're going to stay super mainstream and super quote-unquote relevant and popular with corporate America. This is what you have to do. And one thing I'll say about Jay-Z is that Jay-Z is a sellout. And when I say he's a sellout, I'm not even saying it as a diss. I'm not saying it as a diss of Jay-Z. I just told y'all earlier in this live, I think Jay-Z is the best rapper. I've been listening to rap music since the 90s. So if they were out in the 80s, I don't really know them as well. But listening to rap music since the 90s, I think Jay-Z is the best rapper. I can listen to Jay-Z's music all day. And I think Jay-Z is a sellout. Now, let me explain what I mean by sellout. Because, again, I'm not saying it as a diss. A sellout, by definition, is a person who has sold all available units of their product or service. That's who Jay-Z is. Jay-Z sold all available units of his products and services. That's the reason why Jay-Z makes money. I don't know how much money Jay-Z makes. I don't know how much he has. Of course, you can go Google net worths and stuff. It's always funny when people talk about somebody's net worth that they Google. You can't know somebody's net worth off the internet because you don't know their liabilities. Only way you know somebody's net worth, you got to know their assets and their liabilities, not just how much money they allegedly make. But a lot of people who don't know anything about money think that you know somebody's net worth because of some number you saw on the internet, which is not true. But let's just say Jay-Z has a lot of money. Okay, let's just keep it there. And the reason why Jay-Z makes the money that he makes is because Jay-Z is a open and honest sellout. Jay-Z is an open and honest sellout. And again, I'm not saying that as a diss. Jay-Z wants to sell as much as possible. And Jay-Z is willing to do whatever is necessary to make sure his products sell. And he wants to sell himself as a culturally relevant taste maker in the wider entertainment community. Jay-Z is bigger than just rap music these days. I think we can agree. He's doing his business deal with the NFL. And in order to do that, there are some things that you have to be okay with. Some things you have to maybe compromise on. I don't know Jay-Z's personal principles. Some things you have to maybe compromise on, and some things you got to go along with or turn a blind eye to when they're happening. Jay-Z got to be okay with the diversity, equity, and inclusion. He got to be okay with bringing some gay people into a place that traditionally only had heterosexuals. He got to be okay with, let's bring this place that's mostly white and bring some black people in. And he's black, so I guess he'd be okay with that. And let's take this place that's mostly men. Let's bring some women in the room and say, hey, women can do the thing too. Jay-Z is, when I've heard Jay-Z talk, again, I don't know Jay-Z personally, but when I've heard Jay-Z talk, he seems to be completely okay with these things. And we can confirm that he's okay with them because he would not be in the position that he's in corporate-wise if he wasn't okay with them. If Jay-Z talked the way that I'm talking, he wouldn't be in the position he's in when it comes to corporate. He can still make money, but there'd be a limit on how high he can go in terms of his cultural influence when it comes to the corporate world if he had some boundaries and standards when it came to these type of things. Let's not make the NFL gay. Well, Jay-Z's not an athlete. Let's keep that in mind. Jay-Z is a rapper. Now, you ever seen a picture of Jay-Z? All right, Jay-Z wouldn't know what to do if you put him in a gym and say, all right, you got an hour, do whatever you want. Jay-Z wouldn't know what to do. All right, Jay-Z's not that guy. He's not an athlete. He's a rapper, and that's fine. Now, you don't have to be an athlete. But Jay-Z is making decisions about the biggest sporting entity in all of America that has more influence than any other entity in America when it comes to sports. But Jay-Z ain't a sports guy. Jay-Z's an athlete. I mean, not an athlete, excuse me, a rapper. He's an entertainer. A lot of athletes look up to Jay-Z. My background is an athlete. I like Jay-Z. I wouldn't say I look up to him, but I like his music. So this is where he gets his connection to the sports world. This is his entree into sports relevance, is because he's a really good rapper. And a lot of athletes like rappers. A lot of athletes want to be rappers. A lot of rappers want to be athletes, especially in the NFL and the NBA. There's a lot of black guys who come from urban communities. That's where Jay-Z's connection comes from. If this was the NHL, Jay-Z would not be connected. If it was baseball, Jay-Z would not be connected. But basketball, football, Jay-Z's connected because of his relevance to the players who play in the league. Not because Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, who makes $50 million a year, not because he likes Jay-Z. I think he likes Jay-Z enough that he can make himself look cool to his kids, probably. But anyway, he's choosing Bad Bunny. This continues this present pattern of social messaging, which I'm not a fan of. Again, the sports world is not the place for social messaging, especially when you're already winning. So Jay-Z said he wants halftime to reflect culture, not safe corporate picks. And if Jay-Z did say that, I didn't hear him say that, but let's just assume that's true. He wants halftime to reflect culture. Well, what is culture? Culture is a very wide-ranging thing. It can encompass many different things. So when he says he wants the show to reflect culture, again, what does that mean? Is culture right now that pretty soon in America, everybody's going to be speaking Spanish? I don't know. Is that what he's saying? He's saying that men need to accept gender fluidity and not be heterosexual and just attracted to women? Is he saying that men should walk around wearing dresses and that's masculine and acceptable? What exactly is Jay-Z saying? If he's saying that his halftime picks are based on reflecting culture, what part of culture does Bad Bunny represent that we need to know about now, Jay-Z? Please inform us. Fill us in on what exactly this means. I don't think Jay-Z is going to answer that question. But if this is what he's allegedly doing, then I have more questions than I have answers. Now, choosing someone outside of traditional American pop genres, which I've been hammering on here, this alienates more conservative and less global audiences. And politics may overshadow musical merit in how people view this performance. It's not even necessarily politics. It's just the social dynamic of it is that you got this guy who I'm pretty sure he's going to come out at some point dressed in women's clothing. How many of you think he's going to do that? Bad Bunny. Give me a yes or a no. And at some point in Bad Bunny's show, he's going to be dressed in female clothing. And at the same time, it's going to be obvious that he's a man. So how many of you think, give me a yes or a no in the comments, is at any point in his show, Bad Bunny is going to dress in female clothing during his Super Bowl halftime show with 100 million people watching? That's absolutely going to happen. So what this is going to cause a bunch of conservative people in America to be pissed off. And there's going to be a lot of complaining about this. I think the day of the Super Bowl and the next day, Super Bowl's on a Sunday. So that Monday is going to be a lot of people talking about this. And there's going to be a lot of backlash. And here's what's going to happen. Here's where I feel Jay-Z fits in. And I'm not a fan of Jay-Z fitting in here, but I do believe this is Jay-Z's angle. Is that he has bought into the same thing that a lot of Black Americans have bought into, which is anything that we can do or say or believe or agree with that seems to piss off white conservative Americans must be a good thing. I think Jay-Z's on that train. I don't like that Jay-Z's on that train, but I do believe Jay-Z's on that train. What do y'all think? Give me a yes or a no. I think Jay-Z rides on that train. And I think Roger Goodell has been influenced to ride on that train. I don't think Roger Goodell rides on it, but I think he's been influenced to be okay with that because he's trying to keep his ear to the streets, for lack of a better term. And there's a lot of Black Americans who are all in on this. So what's going to happen is, my prediction, when Bad Bunny performs in February, that night on social media, everybody's going to be talking about it. Then the next day, there's going to be plenty of people talking about it. And there's going to be a bunch of Black people and white people who want to present themselves as being allies of Black people, who are going to say, well, this is a good thing. And the reason they're going to say it's a good thing, they're going to give all different reasons. But the main reason they're going to be happy about it is because it appears that a bunch of white conservative Americans didn't like it. So that must mean it's a good thing, because anything that pisses off white conservative Americans, that must be a good win, because that means we're winning the diversity battle. And I think a lot of people have this frame. It doesn't even matter what it is. Okay, so let's put a gay guy on the stage at the Super Bowl. Let's put a non-binary, gender fluid guy dressed in women's dresses on the stage at the Super Bowl in front of 100 million, 300 million people. And that's a success because white Americans who are conservatives who don't want to see that shit are pissed off. So that's a win for us. I don't think so. I don't think that's a win for anybody. But this is where we are societally. This is the conversation that we're having right now. So choosing this person, some say that this alienates as I already said, the more conservative bases and overshadows musical merit. I don't think Bad Bunny got chosen because his music is great. Again, I don't think Jay-Z even speaks Spanish, and I don't think he listens to rap music in Spanish. And the average American, even if you are leaning to the left, even if you don't like conservatism at all and you're against it, why would you, Hawaii 1902, I see over there on Instagram, how are you going to even understand what Bad Bunny's doing? Why are you going to understand what the song is? What did he say in the song? What was your favorite line from his song? We don't know. Everything's in Spanish. But the next day, those same people who couldn't understand anything Bad Bunny said are going to think it a win because a bunch of conservatives didn't like that Bad Bunny was even performing. So they're like, yeah, we pissed those people off. So that's success. This is the same problem that the political left has right now with Donald Trump, is that everything they do is about what can we do or say that would make Donald Trump or MAGA supporters mad. And as long as we do that, then we won. The problem is your entire frame is based around somebody else's response. So you are censoring them. Everything you're doing is about them. This is the problem Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert have right now, is that every episode, all they can do is talk about Donald Trump because they position themselves to be the guy that talks about Donald Trump, and they forgot about telling jokes. And this is what it looks like on the societal left, not even the political left, but the societal left. They're cheering on Bad Bunny because they see a bunch of conservatives are pissed off. So that's enough to co-sign Bad Bunny. I don't agree with that. Now, another thing the NFL is doing here is they are amplifying, and maybe Jay-Z will say this, he hasn't said anything, at least from what I've heard, amplifying Latin and queer visibility. Because Bad Bunny blends masculine energy with gender fluidity. I disagree with that. I don't think he blends much masculine energy. I think he has a masculine presentation because he's a man, but he only brings gender fluidity is what he's bringing. Yeah, you can't be masculine and gender fluid at the same time, I don't think. You're masculine, you're feminine, or you're trying to play the middle, but you can't, you're masculine. It's not masculine and, it's masculine. So his selection is powerful, they say, for representation in a domain historically dominated by heteronormative male acts. So this is some corporate Chat GPT written bullshit corporate speak. That's what this is. His selection is powerful for representation in a domain historically dominated by heteronormative male acts. Heteronormative. This is one of these new age words. Heteronormative, as if there's another option. Right? Heteronormative. So now you can be not heteronormative, and that's a powerful move because it shows that we're going against the grain of that, and you could be something else. And I guess that is a signal to everybody else in the world that you don't have to be heteronormative. You could be a man and still wear a dress. And here's the bigger issue. This is the reason why the title of this stream here today is that the NFL turns gay, is that they're not going to change the minds of many of you who's 35 years old, or if you're 27 or 46 or 52. They're not trying to change your mind. You know what they're really trying to reach. Anybody know who they're really trying to reach? Is one word. Can anybody put in the comments, who are they really trying to reach? It's not you who's 66. It's not you who's 40. It's not you who's 29. They're trying to reach the kids. That's what this is about. This is about reaching the kids. The NFL is doing what they're doing, knowing that they had the biggest TV show in the world because they're trying to reach the youth. And by putting Bad Bunny in that Super Bowl halftime show, which everybody's going to be watching, even if they don't watch the game, they're going to watch the halftime show, is they're letting the kids know you can be a man and you can have a bat and balls down there below your waist and you can wear a dress and look how popular you can be anyway. That's what this is about. That's the main message. And Jay-Z is okay with this because Jay-Z is the one who's getting the credit for choosing the acts. Again, he's not the one making all the decisions. He doesn't make the final call. He makes a suggestion and the NFL makes the final call. The NFL is still the NFL. Jay-Z does not run the NFL, but he's taking all the credit, right? He's getting the credit from the world. They say, oh, Jay-Z did it. Jay-Z did it. Jay-Z's okay with this. And see, that's the issue I got. I like Jay-Z as a rapper. I don't like that Jay-Z's on this train, but I do believe he's on it. I believe he's riding on it in the front car. Is letting the kids know you don't have to be whatever they said you are. All right, just because you were assigned male at birth, another phrase that I don't agree with. Just because you were assigned something at birth does not mean you have to live a certain way and conduct yourself a certain way. I wouldn't be surprised if you see one of Jay-Z's kids one day pop up. I think he has 3 of them. You see one of Jay-Z's kids pop up, not heteronormative. We know one of his daughters is usually out there singing with Beyonce, but he has 2 other kids. And if one of them pops up, I never even seen what they look like. One of them pops up different, not heteronormative, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not reporting that. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised. Jay-Z's on this train pretty hard. And again, he couldn't get to where he's at entertainment-wise, corporate-wise, if he wasn't okay with it. If he was not okay with it, he wouldn't be where he's at right now. He could be a very popular rapper, but he would have to stay over there with the rappers. He wouldn't be doing what he's doing if he was not okay with this gender fluidity, not non-heteronormative stuff. He couldn't get this far. So this turn, they say, is meaningful for fans who have lacked stage visibility in major U.S. events. I say bullshit. Miss me with that. Now, critics will say that this is activism masquerading as entertainment. I say I'm a critic. So I'm a critic. This is activism masquerading as entertainment. No American is saying we need Bad Bunny at the halftime show. Again, mofo's not even speaking English. How you got a guy who don't even speak English performing at the halftime show, the biggest show in the country, in America? Detractors are going to say the NFL is pushing agendas and they are they're not directly grooming younger fans. You can't groom young fans by just putting somebody on the stage. They're indirectly grooming by showing you that it's okay. This is the process. The process when it comes to the LGBTQ, the rainbow flag, is this. The first one is, the first step was people rejected it. It used to be completely rejected and people were afraid to even tell you that they were LGBTQ. Then it came acceptance. First step was acceptance. Okay, if you want to be gay, be gay. All right, I'm okay with that. I accept it. I live in South Florida. There's a bunch of gay people walking around here. Okay, so the first step is acceptance. The next step is celebration. We're at celebration right now. What is celebration? Celebration is Pride Month. Y'all seen the Pride Month? The month, I believe, is June, right? Isn't June Pride Month? They get a whole month. Black History gets February, 28 days LGBTQ gets June, 30 days. I'm just putting that on the record. They get a whole month of celebration. They got a flag. They got their own flag. You see a rainbow, you know what it means. They got their own flag. They co-opted the concept of pride, which is supposed to be one of the 7 deadly sins, according to the Bible, and they turned it into something to celebrate. They took the word gay, which is supposed to mean happy, and they turned it into you're attracted to people of the same sex, when the Bible says that's an abomination. They just co-opted the whole thing, and now you're supposed to celebrate them. Now they get a whole month of celebration. They got a parade. There's a pride parade in many cities. Any of you live in a city that has a pride parade? Put me if you live in a place that has a pride parade within 50 miles of where you live. They got them here. In Miami, they got them here. Big pride parades. You go to Miami Beach, there's a whole 3-block stretch of the beach with rainbow flags all on them. Let you know, all right, this is where the gay people hang out, right here. So now the next step is the celebration, and that's the second step. And the next step after that is participation. That's the next step. Participate. It's not enough to accept that we're here. Okay, there's some gay people over there. Okay, we accept that. That's not enough. Now you got to celebrate us. Now this is every Major League Baseball team doing some type of celebration for Pride Month. Did y'all see that this past summer? Every baseball team did some celebration for Pride Month. Almost all of them did something to celebrate Pride Month. That's not enough. You can't just celebrate us and put the flag on you. Now, next thing is you got to participate. You got to play you got to play with us. Now, if you're 37, you're listening to this, you're like, Dre, what are you talking about? I'm not playing with pride. I'm not playing with the rainbow flag at all. No, they don't mean you. They mean your 14-year-old. They mean your 14-year-old kid, your 12-year-old, your 6-year-old, your 8-year-old that you sent to elementary school today. What are they teaching them in class? Do you know? You better pay attention. Have you been to the classroom? Does the teacher have a rainbow flag on the wall? Do you know? Are you checking? Are you asking your kids what the teachers are telling them in class every day? The stuff that they tell the kids that they don't have to tell mom and dad if they don't want to. That's the next step, folks. The next step in the LGBTQ wave is participation. There's acceptance, there's celebration, then it's participation. That is step 3, participation. And again, they're not trying to get you if you're 41 years old. They're not trying to get you. They're trying to get your kids, because your kids are mentally malleable enough that they may be influenced into this. What does Bad Bunny have to do with it? Again, look how popular he is. Look how big he is. Look how many streams he has. Look how culturally relevant he is. Okay, and look at him. He's a man walking around with a dress on. So clearly, a man walking around with a dress can become Bad Bunny. So it obviously ain't that bad. Yeah, your classmates are laughing at you, but hey, maybe Bad Bunny's classmates laughed at him. Look at him now. That's what they're telling you. It's an indirect message. They're not going to come out and say that. It's an indirect message that they're insinuating to the kids that look at him, look how popular and relevant and rich. Maybe he has a whole bunch of money. Look how many followers he has. Look at this guy. He's a man walking around. He has a penis and testicles, right? Probably. He's walking around with a dress on, dressing in drag, and who knows what he's saying, but he's probably saying some gay stuff in his music. And look how popular he got. So clearly, being a man walking around with a dress is not some scarlet letter that means you can't be successful in life. Again, look at Bad Bunny. That's the message that they're giving to your kids without saying it. And your kids are smart enough to figure it out, by the way. Your kids are smart enough to figure this out. They don't need you to interpret it. I'm giving you the interpretation so you understand what's happening, but they got it. You got a 14-year-old, they're pretty smart. They know. And Jay-Z is okay with this. Again, I'm not happy with that. I like Jay-Z as a rapper. And this is the reason why I'm saying I want to hear what Jay-Z has to say about something that's not entertainment business or actually making music. I'm not really interested in what Jay-Z has to say about anything outside of those categories. He's done a lot in those areas, at least from what we've seen. But when it comes to social stuff and everyday stuff and raising your kids and influencing kids, et cetera, I'm going to hear what Jay-Z has to say, because Jay-Z is co-signing this. Because if Jay-Z said, listen, I'm laying my body in front of this, we don't want to have a man who has balls walking around in a dress influencing the world and the youth, because I got kids myself. If Jay-Z had said that, would Bad Bunny be performing at halftime? One of two things would be happening. Either A, the NFL would say, okay, we're not going to do Bad Bunny, Jay-Z, to make sure we keep you on our team. Or B, they would have fired Jay-Z. But Jay-Z's still there and Bad Bunny's performing, which means Jay-Z had to be okay with this. That's the problem I got with it. So, continuing. This moment generated headlines when it got announced, controversy, discussion. That's part of what the NFL wants. I don't think so. The NFL doesn't need headlines, controversy, or discussion. As I already said, the NFL is the biggest show on television by far. If you list the top 20 shows that came on TV, let me see if I can find it. Let's see if ChatGPT has it. Can you list for 2024 the top 30 shows that came on TV, whether those be, let me not, I don't want to say it that way. I don't like the way I worded that. Actually, let's just do it that way. The top 30 shows that came on TV. Let's see if they get the list. The NFL is the biggest show on television. Let's see if they got it. No, they didn't do it the way I'm looking for. It's not what I'm, they just gave me TV shows. What I mean is the top rated broadcasts that came on TV, the top 30 in the year 2024, every individual broadcast in a list. They're just giving me TV shows, which is not what I'm looking for. So number one TV show is the Squid Games. I've never seen the Squid Games. The NFL already has, so they said they couldn't find it. But they said a Variety article reports the most watched telecasts of 2024. They're the one-off events like the Olympics, the Oscars, the Super Bowl, etc. And what I'm looking for is, if you want, they say I can try to reconstruct the top 30 individual broadcasts for you within, they say it would take them a few hours. Why would it take ChatGPT a few hours? Yes, see if you can get a quick list for me from searching online. So it's usually the one-off events. And this is exactly what I mean. The biggest one-off events in the country are always football games. Number one is always the Super Bowl. So why does the NFL need to generate headlines and controversy and discussion? The answer is they don't. The NFL doesn't need that. Halftime is a content generator, yes, but it's a cultural flashpoint is what halftime is. It's not just a show. So they don't need controversy. The NFL does not need to chase ratings. They already have ratings. They don't need social media buzz. The NFL was already the biggest show on TV before social media existed. Social media has come to exist. The NFL is still the biggest thing on TV. So social media didn't change anything. And brand value, the NFL doesn't need that. They already got all of these things. NFL already got all of it. They're the biggest thing in team sports. They're the biggest thing in sports, period. They're the biggest thing on TV. They already have all the cultural relevance. It's already the biggest sport in America. They don't need to do anything extra to draw attention. But they've been sold this bill of goods that they need to. Now, the backlash is strong enough. Maybe sponsors or networks may push for a different message or an adjustment. That could happen. So those of you who are leaning more conservative and you're thinking along the lines of what I'm saying here today about this, understand that they are listening. And if there's enough backlash, these companies do respond. They do respond to backlash. I mean, you saw Jimmy Kimmel got suspended, came back in like a week. All right? They do respond. You saw Cracker Barrel said we're going to change our logo and redesign our stores. They got a bunch of backlash, and like 2 weeks later, they changed their mind on all of it. All right, that happens. They do listen if enough people speak up. So social media does matter, and they do listen if you put your voice out there often enough, and enough people are making enough noise about stuff. So if you are conservative, yes, you could turn the show off and not watch the game, et cetera, et cetera. You could also say something about it because they're paying attention to the numbers. They're paying attention to who's watching, who's not watching, and why. And the NFL and advertisers can be sensitive to viewer ratings and public sentiment, especially big corporations who have a lot of engagement with the public, like the NFL. They do respond to what the public has to say. So don't think that this is a lost cause if you happen to be on the conservative side, you happen to be on the traditional side or the Christian side, and you're like, how are they bringing a gender fluid, essentially gay guy on stage at the Super Bowl to influence the kids, and you are pissed off about this? Let your voice be heard by the NFL. They are listening. It may not seem like they're listening, but they're listening. They hear it often enough. They will respond to it. All that said, let's get into the comments here, and let's see. None over there. Let's see what we got over there on Instagram. On Instagram, we got Hawaii 1902. I see Jabari said, facts, brother. We got to pray our nation get all this demonic indoctrination away from the children. Well, I don't think it's going to happen, Jabari. What I think needs to happen is the parents need to take control of it. Take control of it. That's the only thing you can do. I don't think it's going away. I think the parents just need to take control. And every parent who's listening to this, if you have a child under 18 who's living under your roof, is you need to pay attention to what your kids are consuming. You need to be looking at what they're looking at on their phones. My kid doesn't have a phone, but if my kids have phones and they're living under my roof and I'm paying that bill, I'm letting them know when they get the phone. Listen, every single day, I'm taking your phone at the end of the day, and I'm going to look through your phone and see who you're texting, what you're talking about, what kind of messages you're sending, what apps you're going to. I'm putting parental controls on all this shit. And if you want all of that taken off, you pay your own bill, you move out of my house. But until then, I'm looking at everything that's on your phone. And parents, you need to be paying attention to what your kids are consuming on their screens. There is no privacy when you're paying the bills. And be careful, because back in the day when we were kids, especially those of you who grew up prior to social media is what I'm saying, is that there was a couple TVs in the house that had maybe 5 channels. If you had cable, even cable had like 100 channels. Nowadays, how many channels you got? Everybody who has a YouTube account, it's called literally a channel. There are infinite channels these days. So if your kid is looking at a phone all day and they can go wherever they want on that phone, what are they consuming? And you don't even know. That's what parents have to do. We can't hope that goes away. It's not going away. What we have to do is take control of it, all of you who are parents, because this is not going away. It's only going to get worse. So anyway, DJ Donamite said heteronormative, yeah, which is crazy. One said happy birthday to who? It's not my birthday. Vane Coin says it's not a new age term, it's academic. What I mean by new age is coming more into the everyday conversation is what I mean when I say new age. I know I know the word didn't just get made up. Jessica said heterosexual will always be the norm, can't have babies without it. Yes, this is true, and at the same time, Jessica, you notice that the birth rates are going down for certain groups in America. Jody Swan said that's why my child won't watch it. Fair enough. Big Sam said he's had multiple songs with over 1 billion streams on Spotify. So what I got to do with anything, Big Sam? That's a non sequitur.
Have some more chicken. Have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried.
And Sam went on to give more evidence of how popular Bad Bunny is. I already told everybody how popular he is. He is very popular. That has nothing to do with the point here today. I don't care how popular he is. The devil was popular. Does that mean we should platform just because they're popular? Or what are you saying? Jessica said mine won't be watching it. Fair enough. Leonard Welding, thanks for the follow. Big Sam said his channel has a bunch of subscribers. Okay, we get it. I get it. I understand. What does that have to do with anything? Big Bros thing said people will make up all type of narratives. Well, that's what humans do. We're wired for narrative. Anna Cruz said Jay-Z's mother is gay. That's right. Jay-Z did say that in the song. Good point. Giga Dad said, I have 2 boys and a daughter. None of them are gender confused. Well, that's good. And it's funny that I'm almost saying congratulations, but I'm not even going to say congratulations. That's normal. So congrats on your kids being normal. That's how it should be. Long Drive said the NFL stands for not for long. Yeah, that's for the players, though. That's not for the league. That's for the players. User, thanks for the follow. XTR says the feminization of our male population. Yes, and I started to touch on that earlier. And that is where we are. Our population, our society rather, is becoming more and more feminized. So of course the women are feminine and men are more masculine. Both of us have each in us. What's happened is a lot of men are not doing their jobs anymore. That's how we get this nonsense happening. I always bring this back to the men. If the men don't do their jobs, then women will look around and say, okay, there's no men here doing their job, so I guess I got to do the job. And when you get women doing the job, things are going to become more feminized. Now, Jay-Z is a man, but Jay-Z seems to be feminine influenced. I don't mean that means there's a woman telling him what to do. What I mean is he is buying into this feminization of society because Jay-Z wants to be as popular as possible. And if you want to be as popular as possible, you don't want to say anything that may piss off a good percentage of the people who would make you popular, which is a good amount of them are women. All right, Jay-Z sells records to women the same way he sells them to men. So he's not going to come out and say, hey, matriarchy. He's not going to come out and say patriarchy and women need to stand down and a man is the leader and we need to bring more masculinity into society because a lot of women are not going to like that he would say that. And again, Jay-Z couldn't say that and be in the position that he's in right now. So yes, the feminization of our population, and it happens in the sports world, is already happening in sports. It's happening in the entertainment world. They started to do it in the political world, and had Kamala won, it would have won in the hyperdrive. Donald Trump won, which is a stopgap because Donald Trump only has 4 years. What comes after that? That's the question. Jose, thanks for the follow. Connie Moore said, all Jay-Z cares about is money and power, and that's it. Well, I think those are high on his list. I would agree with that generally. They're high on his list. Which, for the record, doesn't make Jay-Z a bad person. A lot of people care about money and power. Jay-Z's done a good job of caring about it for a very long time, which is why Jay-Z is Jay-Z. At the same time, my point is not necessarily that that's wrong to care about money and power. The point is that in order for him to ascend and continue to ascend in the world that we're in, Jay-Z has to kind of read the tea leaves, see which way the wind is blowing, and he has to go with it if he wants to keep ascending. And Jay-Z goes with it. And that's why, again, he's in a position where he's in. Jay Rocker said Ricky Martin was gay. Okay. And was Ricky Martin dressing in women's clothes, though, Jay Rocker? I don't think he was. Mary McDevitt said Cat Williams called it out. Yeah, Cat Williams called a lot of things out on that Shannon Sharp podcast. I remember that. Big Sam said, you still talking about Bad Bunny. I get it. Bad Bunny's popular. Let's see. Yeah, Mary McDevitt. Yeah, I saw Cat Williams on there. I remember that. Donna Kai, thanks for the follow. Let's see if we can find the top, see if they came up with the top. All right, a few relevant ones they found. I'm asking ChatGPT the most popular ones. They didn't. I told them to find the most popular shows all year, and they said it would take some time for them to search. I don't know why it would take that long, but they say the most watched broadcast in the USA in 2024 was the Super Bowl, with 123.7 million viewers across TV and streaming. Number 2 was Women's Basketball Championship game, which had 18 million views. No, that's not number 2. They just said that was on the list. But the Super Bowl was way bigger than everything else. They didn't give me numbers for anybody else. So just to give y'all an understanding, it's 350-ish million Americans. About a third of them watched the Super Bowl. All right, that tells you how big the Super Bowl is. Almost as many people that voted watched the Super Bowl. So that's how big the NFL is. And that's not even counting regular season games. There's a bunch more of them. Long Drive said it would make sense if he performed at the Premier Cup Championship. Yeah, something that was more Latin leaning, like baseball or soccer. But NFL football, no. Big Bro said he's bigger than your favorite artist right now. That's what it's about. No, not really, because there are a lot of artists that are big. I mean, I don't even know who my favorite artist is right now. I think Jay-Z is the best. I don't know if he's my favorite. But I don't really listen to rap music that heavy these days as nearly as much as I used to, Big Bros things. But it's not about let's just get the most popular person in the world. You have to get someone who is relevant for your audience, because the NFL is a business. They got to sell to their buyers. Who's the buyer? So who's the most popular woman? Who's some of the most popular women in the world right now? Oprah Winfrey is very popular, but you don't see her on the cover of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. Oprah's been popular for, 40 years? Has she ever been on the cover of Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue? The answer is no. Why? Because she is not relevant to that audience in that context. So just because you're popular doesn't justify you being on a stage just because you're popular. That's not enough. That's not a good enough reason. Scrappers Alley said, it doesn't sound like you accepted. Accept what? What are you talking about? MS Dano Sit said, what the hell do you care about what someone does in their bedrooms? Well, that's a straw man.
Strawberry cheesecake.
Miss Danny does it. Congratulations on the first straw man of the day, which is when someone takes a point that somebody else made or allegedly made, they reframe it into something that they didn't say, and then they re-present that frame, the straw frame, to that person in the form of a question, which is what you just did there, or something that they ridicule, or they stated it with incredulity. So you did the question version of the straw man. I never said anything about what anybody does in the bedroom. That was never even said. So that's why you got the straw man.
Strawberry cheesecake.
Jay Rocker says, since when is Bad Bunny gay? Well, he presents himself as gay. You're a man walking around with a women's dress on, you're gay. All right, so I'm saying it colloquially. Now, if he's actually gay and has sex with men, I don't know. You're a man walking around with a dress on and you're taking pictures in it, which means you want people to see you doing it, you're gay. All right, I'm saying that in a colloquial way. Juanito said exactly is ridiculous. Yes, exactly. Miss Danny said, I'm sad for you. Don't be sad for me.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Be sad for you. So a bunch of you said there's a pride parade somewhere within 50 miles of where you live. So they got it everywhere. Damn, they got it everywhere. I thought it was only in Miami. Tiffany Walker said, not to mention they took the rainbow, which was a symbol for God's promise not to flood the earth. Yes, also true. So they co-opted all these things to turn biblical concepts into representation of something that is clearly noted in the Bible as an abomination. And I've done episodes on my podcast calling Christians out for allowing that to happen. But it's happened now. Juanito said, you see random signs and it's covered with their rainbow. Yeah. Miss B said, being white is all right. It's pure. All right, fair enough. Steven says, St. Pete. I think I've heard of it in St. Pete. I lived in Tampa for a year. Let's see. Juanito said, the agenda was put in place by Bill Gates to keep people from procreating. He thinks he's doing good. I've heard people credit Bill Gates with that. O-Dog on Instagram said, NFL hasn't recovered from the Kaepernick fiasco. It's not as popular as it was in 2010. It will go the way of the NBA where nobody watches it. People don't like to feel forced on it. I would hope that doesn't happen to the NFL, but you might be right. The NFL is a very popular product. I would hope they wouldn't mess it up and fumble, metaphorically speaking, fumble the ball, but they might. O-Dog said, multiculturalism is just a cover to bring in destructive ideas to the young and impressionable. I agree with that. And he says, if what someone does in the bedroom isn't important, why do only gay people make it known to everyone? That's a good point. Even though that isn't even something that I said, but the person who made that comment, why does it even matter? Again, only gay people announce that what they do in the bedroom. Heterosexual people don't announce, say, hey, I'm heterosexual. They don't announce it. It's only the gay people who announce it. Let's see. Cameron Clark, thanks for the follow. Nana Cat said, indoctrination of the children. Yes, this is what it is. And this is a insinuation. It's not even, they're insinuating it. So they don't tell you, they insinuate it. Connie Moore said, they only do that to bring in seat fillers and money. Only do what? Ambs said, the Texas Rangers were the only ones not to have a pride night. Yeah, I knew they all did something. Even the Yankees put something out. And I'm like, this is crazy. Chrome Pipe said, parents can't sit in on classrooms anymore. It's not even so much sitting in, but have you even been to the school to just see, hey, what is in this classroom? Who is this teacher? What are they about? No, what do they care about? What is their agenda? What are they teaching? That's what I'm talking about. Jay Gamble said, does your child attend public school? My kid's not school age, but if he needed to go to school today, he's not going to public school. Absolutely not. And most likely, if I had to make a decision today, JJ Gamble, all of my children will be homeschooled. As I can teach my kids better than any teacher in America can teach my kids. There's no one more qualified than me. Luis L. Azabachi said, a grown man complaining about halftime show in sports. How's that going to benefit the economy? All right, here we go. Straw man.
Strawberry cheesecake.
First of all, what does the grown man part have to do with anything? All right, I'm assuming you're a grown man or a grown woman leaving a comment on TikTok. So what does that say about you? Secondly, I am talking about the halftime show in sports because it's a current event, which is what these live streams are always about. I talk about something that's happening in a current event. This is a current event. It is a news item. As you can see, there are 267 people in here. So obviously people care about it. So that's why I'm talking about it. And third, you said, how is that going to benefit the economy? I am unaware that it was my job to do a live stream on TikTok to benefit the economy. So if you know something about my assignment that I don't know, please let me know what it is.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy. Okay.
Tiffany said, I'm a conservative teacher in a conservative school, and we have a teacher who flaunts rainbows. Are they also a conservative or what? Alona, thank you for the share. Connie said, I agree to a point. All right, fair enough. James Black, thanks for the follow. Alona, thanks for the share. Chelsea said, homophobia is not a good look for you, dude. This is not homophobia, but how is this homophobia? Let's get a definition of this. People like to throw these terms out as a way of, these are kind of like gotcha terms. So I know what the word means, but I'm going to give a full definition so that we're all on the same page. Homophobia. Homophobia definition. Let's look straight to the Merriam-Webster dictionary. It says discrimination against, aversion to, or fear of homosexuality or gay people. So am I discriminating against a gay person? No, because I have no control over what Bad Bunny does. So I'm not discriminating. Do I have an aversion to gay people? No. I live in Miami. I've lived in South Beach. There's gay people all over the place. I have no aversion to them. I don't see a gay person coming across the street. No. Am I afraid of homosexuality, gay people? No, I'm not afraid of them either. So How exactly am I homophobic? Who said that? Chelsea Diane. What exactly am I doing or saying that makes me homophobic? By definition, I don't fit any of those three check boxes that make you homophobic. So this is, first of all, is an appeal to emotion.
Emotional, damn it.
Secondly, it's an appeal to emotion because you're saying that I'm somehow negative against gay people. No, I'm not. I'm against the concept of insinuating that message and giving it to kids through the Super Bowl stage for it, on top of the fact that this guy only speaks in Spanish and he's not even that popular amongst the core NFL fan base. Not because I have a problem with gay people. So that's why you get the
Emotional, damn it.
appeal to emotion. Secondly, you trying to frame what I'm saying here as homophobia as opposed to actually addressing my points as a straw man.
Strawberry cheesecake.
And third, you're throwing out a non sequitur here or a red herring, trying to change the subject to my views on gay people rather than the views on what is the NFL doing and does this make sense for them business wise. That's a red herring.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
So all of those combined, you get the first Russell Westbrook triple-double award of the day.
Oh, baby, it's triple. Oh, yeah.
Congratulations, Chelsea, for the Russell Westbrook triple-double, triple logical fallacy award of the day. Dan Doe Glover, appreciate you. Cameron Clark says, some college professors trying to teach liberal ideas in their class. Some? Cameron, did you visit some college campuses? I think it's a whole lot of them. I don't think it's some. I think it's a whole bunch of them. Deanna Turner, good morning. Martin Masek, 827, thanks for the share. Juanito said, the agenda has infiltrated every aspect of the world. It's crazy and they're brainwashed. Oh, yeah, it has infiltrated every aspect of the world. Which is why those of you who are parents need to be watching what your kids are doing, especially if they have devices and they have access to the internet without your supervision. I would suggest you watch that until you know your kids have been properly indoctrinated by you. Kids should be indoctrinated by their parents, not by school and not by a teacher, by mom and dad. So indoctrination is not a bad idea. It just depends on who's doing it. Bianca Morala-Shart said, if you don't know what the lyrics are, how do you know what they are saying? I never said I knew what they were saying. I said this guy speaks Spanish and he's doing a show to a mostly English-speaking audience, number one. Number two, he is a man who wears women's clothing, and that is an insinuation to the youth that you can be a very popular person even though you're a man wearing women's clothing. It had nothing to do with the lyrics of the song. So you get
Strawberry cheesecake.
The Straw Man Award because I never said I knew what he was saying. What he's saying is completely irrelevant. Miss B said, being straight is great, no other way around it. Okay, I agree with that. Long Drive said, more than half the music industry is gay. Directionally, you're probably right. I would agree with that. I know some people in the entertainment industry have some experience in entertainment, and it is very gay, especially amongst the men. Dom Tog said, it ain't that serious. It is that serious. It's so serious that you're listening to me and leaving a comment. Mary McDevitt said, no politics in entertainment. 2-8 is already there. Sheila, thanks for the hearts. Cameron said, entertainment is a distraction from our government to be used against us. That's interesting. I don't know if I would call it a distraction from the government. It's just a diversion from everyday life, which is necessary because sometimes people need something to kind of calm down and relax after a stressful day of doing serious stuff. Entertainment does have a space. There is a space for entertainment. I'm not knocking the concept of entertainment. I enjoy entertainment. I listen to music, as do all of you. So none of us is doing just only serious stuff 24 hours a day. Ann Grammatico said, I agree with you. You're such a wise man. Well, thank you, Ann. Luis said, Bad Bunny put on a dress once to make a point about trans women getting unalived and the tape and videotape live. Is that true? So he only did it once? Let's see. We're going to fact check you on that one. Who said that? Luis, we're going to fact check you. Let's see if we can find Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny in a dress. So let's see if there's pictures of Bad Bunny in a dress. So I do see pictures of Bad Bunny just in regular clothes. Looks like he is in regular clothes a lot of times. So perhaps Luis is correct. I mean, I can't go through an entire log of everything Bad Bunny has ever worn. And let's see. Let's see if we can find out what Bad Bunny's orientation is. So he labels himself as sexually fluid. He does not confine himself to traditional labels. He has expressed that his sexual orientation may change over time, and he has featured queer individuals in his music videos. He is a strong ally of the LGBTQ community. He often calls out homophobia in the music industry and features queer individuals in his music videos. He has mentioned that he is open to the idea of liking different genders in the future. Yeah, right, in the present. And his sexuality is a personal journey and can evolve. This is the kind of stuff that they're teaching your kids in school, by the way. So Bad Bunny is gender fluid, or actually, what does he actually call himself? He says he does not label his sexuality, saying it does not define him. Sexually fluid is what he calls himself. So what Luis is saying here is that he only put on a dress one time, and that one time in a dress is the one thing that people may be noticing. So me seeing him dressed as a woman, that only happened one time. So let's see. I'm looking to see if I can find more images of him. I'm just looking up Bad Bunny in a dress, and actually a lot of pictures are coming up are not even of Bad Bunny. So I don't know. Maybe I'm not doing a good enough search. But the fact that he even calls himself sexually fluid, Luis, to respond to what you're saying here, and the fact that he is an advocate of LGBTQ, I believe he's going to put that messaging in his show, which is the part that I'm pointing out. That's the insinuation to the kids. Farm Ball said, I never heard of Bad Bunny till now. I heard of him, and I tried to, because I heard he was very popular, so I turned on some of the music, but it was all in Spanish. Cameron Clark says, Squid Games is the Rothschilds hunting humans for sports. Okay, I heard the Squid Games. I never saw it, though. Long Drive said they do. They need a new audience because all the old people are dying and not watching. Well, all the old people, I don't know what you mean by old, and they're not all dying. And the NFL has a whole bunch of fans that ain't old. It ain't 123 million people watch the Super Bowl. Those are not all old people. Watch the game and look at the people in the stands. Are they all old people? Luis says, I lost my spot in the comments here. I'll take a few more. I'll take a few more minutes of comments, folks. We're already at damn near 10 o'clock. So I'll take a few more comments, then we'll wrap this one up. And somebody mentioned the Epstein files. All right, so I lost my spot in the comments. I got so many. Drew said, well, I asked what makes the NFL gay. Well, they jumped into the LGBTQ. They jumped in it before this Bad Bunny thing with the rainbow flags. Carlos said, all iPhones, iPads, and laptops are tied to my phone. I monitor everything. Yes, that's what every parent should be doing. It's fine. It's fine. Said my son is 15, doesn't have Google on his phone. Good idea. Chris P, thanks for the follow. I'll take a few more comments here. Luis says, instead of worrying about Bad Bunny, let's demand the Epstein files. So here we go.
Have some more chicken. Have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried.
Jay Rocker said, it sounds like homophobia. Well, I just gave you the definition of homophobia. So what part of it is homophobic? Tell me. I just gave you the definition of the word. So where am I homophobic? Bella Rosa, thanks for the follow. Tina said, I don't speak Spanish, so I will not understand. I can speak enough Spanish, but not enough that I can follow a rapper speaking in Spanish. That's a little bit too fast. They got to talk real slow for me to understand it. Big Sam said the NFL show goes to the most popular artist out that year, not giving it to Bad Bunny. Big Sam, that's not true. The NFL halftime show does not go to the most popular artist out that year. You don't know what you're talking about. So Paula Tuck said, I didn't know Jay-Z is that involved with NFL halftime. I will also not be watching it. Jay-Z is like the cultural influencer that helps the NFL make a decision about who to pick for the halftime show. The way they frame it is Jay-Z makes a decision. He doesn't make the final decision because he doesn't run the NFL. Final decision is made by the bosses at the NFL. But Jay-Z he has a lot of input. Let's just put it that way. That's what Jay-Z does. Big Sam said the halftime pick goes to the popular artist. Every artist that I listed over the last 30 years is popular, Big Sam. So it's not the popular artist, meaning whoever is the most popular. What is the measure for most popular? Whoever has the most streams on Spotify. So how'd they choose who got the show in 1995 when Spotify didn't exist? Big Sam, you may have some input on some subjects, but sports is not one of those subjects. It's okay to be quiet. Jose said, no problem is the love of money. Fair enough. Ashley said, my vote is for Snoop. Well, he did it with Dr. Dre a couple of years ago. DJ said, Jay-Z is leading, not following. He is a shrewd businessman. Well, how do you know? And Jay-Z is not, I wouldn't say he's leading or following. I would say Jay-Z is pretty much consulting. He does not run the NFL. He doesn't tell the NFL what to do. He offers his input. He's a consultant. That's what consultants do. You offer your input, but whoever you're consulting with, they still make the final decision because it's their business. So Jay-Z doesn't tell the NFL what to do. That doesn't happen. Christopher Barker said, I don't give a damn about Bad Bunny. All right, fair enough. Big Sam said, my comments are to your echo chamber who are saying Bad Bunny is not popular in America. Well, it's not about him being popular or not. Everybody who does a halftime show is popular. There's no one who's ever done a halftime show who's not popular. So that's not even the point of whether he's popular or not. Of course he's popular. It's a matter of, does it make sense for their audience? Long Drive said, Jay-Z cares when Puffy gets out of jail. Well, we'll see if he gets out of jail. We will be talking about Puff on Monday because the court date is tomorrow. So we'll see what ends up happening if Puff gets out or not. We had 100,000. We'll do like 5 more minutes here, folks. Then we'll wrap up. Christopher said, Eminem is the GOAT. Okay. Candy said, nowadays everything is propaganda. Well, yes, because everybody disagrees on everything. So you can call anything propaganda if you don't like it. User said, what's the bedroom got to do with it? I don't know. I never mentioned the bedroom. Tina said he dates Kendall Jenner. Who are you talking about? Who dates Kendall Jenner? Bad Bunny? Kendall said Jelly Roll would have made the halftime show have an all-time low in views. I don't know who Jelly Roll is. Your mama said Jay-Z in control of the halftime show. No, he's not. Jay-Z works with the NFL. The NFL is in control of their show. It's their show. Jay-Z is a consultant. He's not a boss at the NFL. Tina said, I heard Taylor Swift fell through, and that's when Bad Bunny was picked. That might be true. Because Taylor Swift is the most popular artist out there. Even somebody like Dua Lipa, but Taylor Swift's even bigger than her. Miss B said in the German, I don't know what that's about. Can't read that one. Big Sam said in the 18th century, boys wore dresses before they were given pants. Big Sam, really? Is that where we're at right now, Big Sam? Is that really where you've gotten to? Have we reached the bottom of the well here today?
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy. Okay.
Scott SOS said Bad Bunny made out with a man on stage. I'm a fan. Is that true? I never heard about that. Nicole, thanks for the follow. Big Bunny made out with a man on stage. TEA Communications said homeschool. Ashley Max said homeschooling the best. Appreciate you, Ashley. Rachel said homeschool sucked. Well, it depends on where your home's at. Who was the teacher? Elizabeth, thanks for the follow. Mary says skip halftime and miss expensive commercials. Good point. Kat said new follow from Perth, Australia. Shout out to Australia. We are in Australia now. R. Philly said a teacher and I think that means lawyer. You're a man of many talents. Thank you. Kat, thanks for the follow. Fran said the NFL is gay. Yes, the NFL is gay. Let's see. TEA said, are you heterosexual phobic? What does that even mean? Is that a joke? I don't know what that means. Monica said, love the emotional damage. Yeah, I like that one too. Marley said, male on male cannot reproduce. This is true. Heck said, if you don't agree to the agenda, you're homophobic or racist or misogynistic. Yeah, pretty much. So people use those terms as emotional blackmail is what we call that. That's when we use this sound. Emotional, damn it. If you disagree with anything LGBTQ, then you must hate them or be afraid of them. You can't just disagree. You just got to hate them or be afraid of them. That's emotional blackmail is what people are doing. Cordova said they throw the words around and don't even know what they mean, and now no one cares anymore. Pretty much. That's pretty much how it works. Kuya says straight men are not afraid of gay people. They just like women. Yeah, and it's not even about liking women. It's about offering a criticism of the fact that they're going to throw this guy on stage and he's going to be influencing a whole lot of young people. And why is the NFL doing this? That's what this is about. It's not about how I feel about gay people. That's not even a point. I know a lot of gay women, as a matter of fact. A lot of them very attractive for what it's worth. Christopher Barker said most college professors are liberals. This is true. Mr. Flubber says, nice to listen to people who speak intelligent. Well, thank you. Ball Too Hard said, thanks for mentioning the detail about the rainbow and how Christians try to use the Bible. Well, it is, the point about the rainbow is true. And the LGBTQ just co-opted a whole bunch of things that I don't even know how that happened. Bianca said, respectfully, please rewatch what you said. Now, Bianca, I'm probably not going to rewatch this. But if you're questioning something that I said, tell me what it is. Melissa Wilmar, thank you for the follow. Karina said that's false. What part? DJ Donamite said Bad Bunny is not gay. Well, he says he's gender fluid. That's what it said. Gender fluid. I'm saying the NFL is gay. And a man walking around calling himself gender fluid, I call him gay. I'm colloquially calling him gay. I'm not saying it's a fact. I'm saying that's what I'm calling it. So when I say he's gay, I'm saying he said he's gender fluid. I'm calling him gay. Okay? That's the way I'm saying it. I'm not asking if any of you agree with my framing. That's the frame that I'm giving it. And DJ Donamite said, easy Google. Well, just because something can be found on Google doesn't mean it's true. I understand what you're saying, but that doesn't make it true. Wild Cherry said, it doesn't matter. Men aren't wearing dresses. Christopher said he's bi. DJ Donamite said bisexual is not gay. It is to me. If a man says he's bisexual, meaning he'll have sex with a woman or a man, he's gay. Because if you only have sex with women, you don't have to announce it. Like, do I have to announce to you that I'm heterosexual? I have to tell you. I don't say, hey, I'm heterosexual. If I announce that I'm bisexual, that means I'm letting you know that not only am I heteronormal, i.e. have sex with women, but I also have sex with men. All right, having sex with men makes you gay. If you're a man having sex with men, you're gay. All right, P. Diddy is gay. He has sex with men. He's gay. That's period. Even if he also has sex with women. Right? Having sex with people of the same sex as you is gay, by definition. Just because you also have sex with the opposite sex doesn't change the fact that you have sex with the same sex, which means you're gay. So all these extra terms that people make up, you're either straight or you're gay. All right? I don't play around with all this alphabet soup. All right, you're straight or you're gay. You only have sex with the opposite sex, or you also have sex with the same sex. If you have sex with the same sex, you are gay. Big Steve, thanks for the follow. Live Free says, so basically gay. Yes, exactly. You're gay. Tarika said, how much hate do you think the NFL would get if they had a Casting Crowns or a Christian group? How much hate would they get? I don't think they would get any hate. I don't think they would get hate. They would get people saying, well, hey, how about you pick somebody who's more popular? I think that's what they would get. They would get backlash, not hate, but backlash. They're going to get hate for bringing in Bad Bunny. That's where they're going to get hate from. The backlash would be if they brought in someone who wasn't as popular and they say, well, why don't you bring in somebody who's more popular? And the more popular entertainers are usually more secular. So a Christian group is not going to be as popular. And even a Christian rapper is not that popular. DJ Donamite says, sexual fluid is bisexual. If you are anything other than heterosexual as a man, you're gay. Period. So Marky said he dresses up in his videos. If you're a man walking around in a dress and taking pictures in it, that makes me curious. And then if you confirm it by saying I'm sexually fluid, you're gay. Becca Lynn said, just Google him. He wears dresses more than once. All right, fair enough. But just the fact that he said he's sexually fluid. Big Sam said Prince was gender fluid and he did the halftime show. All right, I don't know if did Prince ever call himself gender fluid? Because if he did, then that means Prince was gay. And I like Prince's music. I was listening to Prince actually this morning. I can like somebody's music and still say that they're gay. I like P. Diddy's music, and P. Diddy is gay. So, again, there you go. I can like somebody's music and still assert that they're gay. Creek Boy said, I found multiple pics of him dressing a lot more in skirts. Okay, so a bunch of you found stuff that I couldn't find. Jay Rocket said, I don't understand what makes it a bad move when it won't affect ratings. Well, have you been listening for the last 2 hours? If not, listen to it again. Connie said, I'm at the point now. I just quit watching the halftime show. Fair enough. Roseanne said, who is your dream Super Bowl performer? I don't have one. I don't care who performs at the Super Bowl. But since this is a hot topic in current events, that's why I'm talking about it. But generally, I don't really care who the performer is. So SOS said, did Bad Bunny ever kiss a man? Some people in the comments are saying that he did. I didn't see it, but some people saying that he did. Leah said, the main point is that half won't even understand his words or music. I think more than half. I think more than half won't know what he's saying. At Home with Marianne said, I don't like rap. I understand. Alice Sower said, music is universal. You feel the music. I understand what you're saying directionally, Alice, but I think it'd be better if you're doing the biggest show in America that you speak the language of the country. Don't you think, Alice? Or what are you saying? O-Dog said DMX was a Christian. Yeah, right. Kanye West and Chris Brown, O-Dog says, for halftime. Kanye West would be a good performer for halftime. I don't think he has a chance these days, but he would be a good performer if he never did it before. Christopher Barker said Jay-Z is whack. Fair enough. Entertainment is art, so everybody doesn't have to like the same things. Dreamy said the last great halftime show was Prince. Fair enough. I don't remember Prince's halftime show, but I'm sure it was great. Prince is a great artist and great performer. Roseanne says not the current most famous because Usher most recently performed as well as older rap artists. Right. Dr. Dre, Snoop, and Eminem were not the most popular artists in 2022. Those dudes' heyday was like 15 to 25 years earlier. So again, people just in here saying shit. But this is social media, folks. What do you expect? Social media is what it's supposed to be. All right, a few more comments here, and then we'll wrap this one up. Tucker said, thank you. Straight or gay? Yes. If you're a man talking about your gender fluid, you're gay. I don't want to hear any man trying to explain to me what his sexual orientation is. Do you like girls or not? Mofo, you like girls and guys? Okay, you gay. No, we can't hang out. And I'm joking. I'm being tongue in cheek. But no, we can't like go out and go talk to girls because you like dudes too. So no, I don't know where that might go. Not interested. Bendu said, I like you because you're always on point. Thank you. Christopher said, if you're a bi, you're definitely gay. Yes, exactly. So all of you understand it. Gary Gray said, alphabet soup. I never heard that before. Yeah, alphabet soup is like a real thing. It's a soup. It's like a soup you give to kids, and it would have all the letters, like all the 26 letters of the alphabet, and it'd be little letters, but they'd be like pieces of soup. You never heard of alphabet soup? Yeah. Hannah said, my ex-husband used to wear my thongs. I think he could be gay. Hannah, I think you're trolling me. But if he was wearing thongs, then he was gay. And good thing he's your ex-husband. He probably got his own husband now. Sensei said, Bad Bunny is an entertainer and athletics are a form of entertainment. Sensei, what point are you trying to make there? What are you actually trying to say? Sheila said, Prince was not gay. He never said that. I never heard Prince say he was gay. But if he said he was gay, then he's gay. I don't really care if Prince was gay or not. He's dead. It doesn't even matter. Prince made good music. That's all I know about Prince. And I know the Dave Chappelle skit about Prince. Those are the only things I know about Prince. So a bunch of you saying Prince never said he was gay. So people just thought he might be gay. Fair enough. Mark said even his stage name is gay. What, Prince? I don't know if Prince makes you gay. Prince just means you're the son of the king. That don't make you gay. Frank said, I'm fluent in Spanish. I don't understand Bad Bunny's lyrics. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. What language is he speaking in? He's speaking Spanish, ain't he? Oh, Mark, maybe you're talking about Bad Bunny. I thought Bad Bunny was a girl when I first heard the name. Sheila said, Michael Jackson was the most epic to me, although I did like Prince. Yeah, Michael Jackson was probably the biggest, I would say. I would also say the most epic. Barbie said, I should have picked Pitbull because he speaks English and he sings. Pitbull will be fine. I don't think Pitbull's in his prime anymore, but they often have people who are not in their prime anymore do the show. So some people trying to say they only pick whoever's the hottest person at the moment that's not true at all. Mark M, thanks for the follow. Carlos said, you can't be a mentor to my son. Yeah, that's right. PK said Prince was banging hot chicks. I think he was. I think Prince had plenty of hot chicks in his life. I would theorize. I don't know. I never met Prince. Don't know the man. Jay Rocket said Prince wore women's clothes. Okay. All right. Now we're talking about Prince. Gary said, I know what alphabet soup is. Never heard to describe the gay gender. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's why I call it the alphabet soup because they keep adding letters. So you got the L, G, you got the L, the G, the B, the T, the Q. Now they got a plus, which basically means every other letter we want to add. I think next is coming to P. You know what the P stands for, right? The PDFs. They're trying to make that one accepted now. That's next. Marie said lyrics are just as important as feeling music. That's right. You got to understand the lyrics. Like think about Usher when he did the show a few years ago. Usher's prime was like 15 years ago, but he did the show like 3 years ago. And when Usher did the show, he did the songs he had with the song he got with Ludacris and Lil Jon. He did Yeah, and everybody knows the lyrics to the song because the lyrics are really simple. You even know the rap lyrics. Everybody knows Ludacris's verse because he makes it real simple. It's easy for everybody to remember. Think about 50 Cent, same thing. Chris said Mark Anthony would have been better English and Spanish. He never did it. But it had J-Lo. I guess that's as close as they can get. Leah said, I love Luda. Yeah, well, Luda kept the lyrics simple. On records that cross over, especially for rappers, you got to keep the lyrics simple enough that everybody can follow what you're saying and you don't go over people's heads with the lyrics. Jay-Z knows how to do it. Ludacris did it on that song, at least. So anyway, we'll wrap this one up, everybody. Make sure you text me at my number 305-384-6894. That's where you can get copies of my books for free. If you text the word live, LIVE, we'll send you a link where you can get this book, The Mirror of Motivation. You can get this book, The Third Day. You can get this book, The Self-Discipline System. TikTok has warned me. I can't even tell y'all the direct links to go get those. They're mad at me for doing that because I'm not selling books directly on their platform, but we'll figure it out. Text me at my number, Tony Chapa. Text the number that's in my bio. Number is 305-384-6894. 305-384-6894. And that's where we'll send you the link. I will send you the link to get all the free stuff that we do give away over here. Thanks to the moderators. Thanks to the dissenters. Thanks to the agreeers. Thanks to the new people and the likers. Did 125,000 likes here today. 305-384-6894 is the number. 305-384-6894. I do these lives Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern. So if you like this one, come back tomorrow. Topic to be determined. We'll see. I'm pretty sure next week we'll probably talk about the P. Diddy case because his court date is tomorrow, but it'll be after we already started this live. So tomorrow will be a different topic. Then sometime next week we'll probably talk about P. Diddy depending on what verdict he gets, if he has to go to jail or he gets out of jail, whatever the situation is. And the last thing I'll tell everybody, if you are a man and you call yourself gender fluid or bi or anything other than straight/heterosexual, you're gay, period. There is no debate. Everybody have a great day. We out of here.